You're listening to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast, celebrating hunting dog heritage, competition, and community. United Kennel Club has been the hunting dog sports home for coonhounds, beagles, retrievers, pointers, cur, feist, and more for over 125 years.
Welcome back to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast. This is Trevor Wade. I'm the Coonhound Program Manager at UKC, and I'm joined today by the Director of Hunting Ops, Alan Gingrich. What's going on today, Alan?
Well, I've tried to rest up a little bit since Autumn Oaks. Sunday morning we left there. I know you didn't sleep at all on Saturday night. I might have taken a 15-minute nap, but I can't remember the last time I've been that exhausted. But it was a good exhausted. I stopped on the way home and took me about a 2-hour nap, and I think when I got home about 5, 6 o'clock Sunday, I must have slept for 15 hours. But I'm still not caught up, but I feel much better than I did about 2 days ago.
Yeah, obviously I had my wife down there with me and my kids, but we had to drive separate. I came down on Tuesday already, and she didn't come down until Wednesday night to be there for Thursday morning. And, I hadn't slept yet, but I was running on adrenaline after we got about 2 hours down the road and actually stopped and got a hotel north of Indianapolis for Sunday night. And they helped me out a little bit. That was a lifesaver because I hit those bumpers on the side of the interstate several times. It was a little dangerous.
Yeah, but hey, Trevor, how about Autumn Oaks, man? What an event this year.
Yeah, I know a lot of people there talking about the heat and things like that, and you can't control those sort of things, but I know I've had conversations with you and a lot of people there driving around the fairgrounds and talking to people all through the week, even with it being mid to high 90s on a couple of days. And man, everybody was in a good mood. Maybe they were too hot to be in a bad mood, but everybody was smiling, everybody was cutting up, and I didn't have any very bad conversations the whole time I was there.
I know, man, and I was thinking the same thing. The week before it would have been perfect weather, low 70s, but as it turned out, it was what it was. But even then, oftentimes when I don't know, when the weather's kind of miserable, or whether it hot like this, you would think it might have an effect on the atmosphere a little bit, and this and that. But gosh darn, a lot of people and more campers than ever. Good entry, and it had to be miserable on a couple of those nights to hunt. Just no air movement in the woods. We know what it's like, when temperatures are so high. On Tuesday night at the warm-up slams at Liberty, you and I both went up there, and I did a little podcast with Donnie Huber, and I just got in my truck, turned the air on, turned the vehicle on, turned the air on, and it was, I think, a little after 9. I looked at my temperature, still 83 degrees. Mm. That's hot.
Yeah.
No air flowing. That had to be tough in the woods.
Oh yeah, once you get in the woods, and especially those cornfields and things around there, there's not much airflow to be had. So, it's tough, but hey, it's a vacation for a lot of people, and man, people made the best of it, and that just speaks to the crowd that we had there this year.
Yeah, absolutely. This year I went down earlier than normal. Normally we go down with the crew on Tuesday, and last year I had planned on going a day earlier, a couple days earlier, and get there on Sunday when gates open, kind of get ahead of a couple things, and mainly, oftentimes when we get down there on Tuesdays, we have campers set up in vendor spaces and things like that, and that makes it difficult. We decided, you know what, we're just going to send somebody down there when the gates open, kind of be there and kind of avoid that from happening. That stinks when you have to ask somebody to move.
Yeah.
And so I went on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. I actually went up to Anderson Saturday night on the way there. I Googled the racetrack. They had horse racing up there, and I thought, you know what? That's not that far out of my way. It looks like something cool to do on Saturday night, so that's what I did. So I got into town pretty late, but went over there Sunday morning just before gates open, and man, there's a line of them there waiting to get in that were there, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I think they said there was, I forget how many they said they had. I want to say close to 60.
Yeah, I was going to say high 50s or low 60s is what I can remember.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's a pretty good crowd for a Sunday.
It is. And they want to get in there, get their spots that they want to have. And you and I had put out a podcast here several weeks ago. We talked about, trying to ask the campers and that to kind of help us out. And I really feel like they did. One of them was not to put up all this taping for their friends, to that if they come in until Wednesday, they have to pay $30 a night for camping spaces. And that was the biggest issue that we had. For those coming in, that they're taping off areas or whatever for their friends to come in Wednesday or Thursday without paying for those spots, kind of taking up from the nice spots for those that do come in, and for a reason, try to get some of the better spots. But so I really felt like it worked, and hey, thanks to everybody for kind of helping us out with that. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, heck, it's a lot easier to get ahead of it and not have to get people to unplug and move somewhere completely different. So that's a huge help. But yeah, you got to spend a couple extra nights there this year, as I think you did a little bit last year as well too. But got to catch up with some people.
I did. Sunday night I took my guitar along, and I'm just a little amateur here, but I love to play and little campfire gigs and this and that. But anyways, last several years, like on Tuesday night, there was oftentimes at Billy Killian's group, Billy Killian, Harvey Martin over there from West Virginia. I've kind of met up with them the last couple of years and sat at their camp for a little bit on Tuesday night. But this year, Billy wasn't there on Sunday when I was there. I think he was there, but he just wasn't at his campsite. Neither was Harvey, but Don Christian and a couple of the others were there. Marty Stamper. Hey, hello, Marty. There's your name dropping. he asked me when I was there. He said, "Wait, when are you going to mention my name when you're doing a podcast?" So there you go, Marty. So yeah, I was Don Christian and Marty Stamper, and then Sean Van Hoos was there as well. So I kind of hung out with them for, I don't know, an hour or two maybe on Sunday night. We picked around a little bit, had a good old time. But those guys, there's a lot of folks just like that, camping already early in the week. In this case was Sunday, and just having a good time, and it's kind of cool the first couple nights. We start getting really busy, about Thursday on, obviously. But it's really cool and nice to be able to go out and kind of hang out with folks that are there, and just get to see and talk with folks.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's what it's all about.
Yep, it is.
Then I ended up leaving early Tuesday morning. First time coming from Wisconsin down there. I left at about 4:30 in the morning to head down that way, and got stuck in Chicago for 2.5 hours. So I was I was a little bit later than the rest of the team. I think I was probably at least 30 or 45 minutes behind the rest of the staff that arrived on Tuesday. But I got there in time to help set up a little bit. But setup went really smooth this year. I feel like by Tuesday we were almost done.
It did, and I think we have several folks that are always or have been with us, have been down there a bunch of times here and the Winter Classic, and they kind of know what needs to happen, so that helps. We always have a couple that are kind of new, but shoot, we've got a solid crew for setup, and you're right, it's fun. It's fun to do that. I had being there a couple days early, and it was so hot on Sunday and Monday. And honestly, I cheated a little bit on Monday. I probably did more work than I did work there on the grounds because it was so hot. And I went in the Coolman Center and fired up my computer and did work stuff and sat in the air conditioning as much as I could. Matter of fact, I didn't go out and mark off vendor spots until about 8 o'clock on Monday night, till after it cooled off a little bit. But,
yeah, it's all fun until you're up in the lift, in the scissor lift up there, hanging up signs from the ceiling.
Yeah. Hey, since you brought it up, you're talking about when we put up the sponsor signs there in the Coolman Center. That ceiling is, I don't know how high that is, but yeah, you and I got in that scissors lift. And about halfway up, I realized that you're feeling this a little bit.
That's my biggest weakness right there. I can't lie about that.
We got up to the top, up to the rafters there, and you grabbed a hold of that one truss up there, and I saw your hand shaking. I'm like, uh-oh. I think I asked you to mention it. You never climbed a silo when you were a kid, have you?
No. Funnily enough, my dad and my brother are both carpenters by trade, and I spent a bunch of summers and almost a whole year after college doing metal roofing with them, or vinyl siding, and building pole barns and things like that, which is, I guess after a while you kind of get used to it, but something about that, I hadn't been up in I guess now 7, 8, 9 years, and you just, geez, I did not like it one bit. But I was happy whenever we realized that we were going to need to run down the road to the warm-up slam to work it, because that meant that we were going to have to get out of there quickly.
Well, the bad thing was we only got half of those hung up on the first night, and he had to sleep on it overnight. So that had to be something to probably lose some sleep over.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all good.
I guess the
I
big
got him the next day. I left you on the floor, and honestly, if you have somebody up there in a small compartment like that, uh, I didn't much care for it either. If I know you're not feeling very good about it and a little jittery, why? Yeah,
rubs off on you a little bit.
a little bit,
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah,
Like, don't tip us over here, man.
that's right. I guess the biggest buzz on Tuesday, probably around the grounds, was everybody talking about Bryce Matthews and Nikki Elburn tying the knot.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
That was kind of a
I
big
had
deal.
all intentions of going to their wedding. They set it up really nicely back there. I was good for them. I was didn't know how how it would work out for them, and hot. My goodness, God bless Nikki. She had probably had a lot going on this year. That had to be a lot,
For
and
sure.
I don't know anybody that was probably had to have more stress than her this year at Autumn Oaks. Probably far more than we did. Bringing the dogs and everybody, her whole family, and getting ready for that, and making sure everything was perfect. But I think at the end of the day, you know what? I think it was perfect for them.
Yeah, and I think
And I had
as
heard nothing but good things.
yeah, I think as we scroll down through our timeline here, we're going to find out that this was probably a pretty darn good week from her. Aside from getting married, she did some winning this week too. So
Yeah.
pretty memorable
And
week.
then our field rep, Jamie Eastep, he was pastoring. He pastored there, and he married them and everything. We had him set up to go to Hannah's Creek there at Liberty on the first warm up slam on Tuesday night. I didn't really think about it that much, as because we talked about it a little bit, and we both told him, Jamie, take your time, don't rush it. There's like their deadline was 8 o'clock. It used to be 9 o'clock. That wouldn't have been a problem. But this was 8 o'clock. Their wedding didn't start until 7. So we decided, you know what, take your time with the wedding, and Trevor and I will go down there and get sit in for you until you can get there or whatever. So hate missing the wedding for Bryce and Nikki's on their behalf, but hey, I think they understood. But yeah, it sounded like they had a great wedding.
Yeah,
Looked nice. Looked very nice the way they had it set up.
definitely looked good. Usually on Tuesday, we're kind of doing staff stuff. Seems like we hang out with the staff and kind of do some, I don't know, some hanging out with each other and enjoying each other. But this year it was kind of fun for me to go down to Liberty.
Hey,
First time I'd been there at the Hannah's Creek Conservation Club there in Liberty, Indiana, and basically the only thing we did was take some materials down to them. Angie Cable and Mike Carmack and Donnie Huber and Kevin and Mike Lester and that whole crew were already had the ball rolling. There was a pretty decent crowd by the time we rolled in there, about an hour ahead of time.
yeah, it was, and isn't I love that. That's a lot of fun. I miss that part of it. Just don't get to do as much of that anymore, and hang out with the guys that are hunting there. And about just before deadline, I walked outside there and was walking around and kind of giving them a couple. The deadline was about up, but looked down the parking lot was full. And then even down the road, parked on each side of the road and everything, it's man, it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
As hot as it was, I was shocked to see that many guys come down there on Tuesday.
Yeah.
They had a great turnout.
Yeah, ended up with 93 entries on Tuesday night, and that's actually the second biggest one I could find on Tuesday night. Last year they had 98, but I definitely think heat was a variable this year, and maybe
Yep.
some of the folks that stayed back at the wedding or things like that. So, but man, an
Yeah.
awesome number, getting 93 dogs in the woods on a Tuesday night, and it didn't take them very long to get drawn out and get them out in the woods.
Yeah, no, they did a great job with all that stuff. Jamie does good. He was down there just about right at deadline time or right soon after, and Jamie does a good job. He's done that for a while, and that's one of the things that he prides himself on, is having his ducks in a row and getting them out in a fashionable time. Sometimes with that number of entries, it can take a while sometimes.
Yeah.
But if you know what you're doing, kind of have your ducks in a row, that can speed up the process pretty quickly. And not just that, you mentioned some of the guys there at the club helping him. Everybody pitched in and made it happen. Yep. $517 they split, the 4 winners split. And that's on top of, if you win your cast at a slam hunt, you get your entry fee money back. So that comes out of the purse to begin with. And even after all that, the final four still split $517
Yeah,
apiece.
each, yeah.
You know, I had that bad habit added purse of $500, you know, is figured in there, but for a $35 entry fee, man, that's not bad for a Tuesday night.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. And the four dogs that split there first, Drop Dead Fred. That's a tree and walker owned by Eric Yeager of Indiana and handled by Austin Terrell. 550 plus in an hour. Pretty good for a hot Tuesday night.
Yep.
Night champion Wicked Ridge's New Hooker. Tree and walker owned by Trent Barker and John Wages of Kentucky. 425 plus.
Just a young kid there.
Yeah, Trent for sure is.
Mm-hmm.
Rack 'em Up Jill, Tree and Walker, owned by Jimmy Willis of Ohio, 375 plus. I believe Kenneth Hunt was handling that dog. And then Night Champion Mad Company at Walnut, a Tree and Walker owned by Tony Rice and Brent Gordon of Ohio with 375 plus. So 375 plus to get in the money. It's staying clean and treeing a couple of coons in an hour. So not bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, congratulations to all those guys and everybody that hunted there, won their cast. And hey, thanks to everybody that came down there, supported that warm up hunt.
Day 2, Wednesday. That's whenever Wednesday, think about vendors coming in, hunting supply vendors rolling in, food vendors getting there pretty early so they can get their trailers in and out and start getting set up. And that's kind of a fun day. Wednesday, I have to say Wednesday and Thursday are a couple of my favorite days because people are starting to roll in. Yet I'm not as busy yet, so I get to get around and talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I am a little more busy, especially for about half the day, you know, but usually it helps to have a golf cart and buzz it around a lot. You know, you get pulled around quite a bit, or at least I do, seems like. But it is a fun day, and trying to get everybody set up and this and that, you know, getting all the vendors in their spots, and it's a good day.
Yeah.
Getting the rest of our stuff, you know, that's the last opportunity we have to get all our things in order and everything set up because it's about go time after Wednesday afternoon.
And it was looking good, man. I thought both buildings and the grounds looked really good this year. I really liked how we had everything set up.
Hey, the one thing that I loved in the Kuhlman Center, the expo hall where they had the show, they took that old air conditioner out of the inside, that unit that used to be so loud, and if it's warm down there, that thing's just running all the time. They've got the new air conditioning system, and they literally just finished that up this week, or last week, like on Tuesday, I think.
Yeah.
And we were going to be the guinea pigs for it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm hoping but it worked fine.
It worked out really well. Didn't have that loud
I think once
sound.
once you were inside, you know, it was quiet in there. And once you were inside, you know, it was comfortable, and it wasn't but it was so hot out when you walked in the door, it felt like a freezer in there.
Right. Yeah.
That was just because of the pure heat outside.
Yeah, sometimes it about make you a little woozy going from extreme hot to extreme cold, but it felt good. On Wednesday night, the warm-up slam shift, they go over to Selma, Indiana at Delaware County Coon Hunters, and that club has just done awesome the past several years, putting a lot of dogs in the woods on weeknights. This year on Wednesday night, 132 entries, and I kind of scoured back through the history of the event where I could on Wednesday nights, and that's the largest Wednesday night slam in Autumn Oaks I could find.
That's awesome, man. You know, Randall Winchester, Derek Compton, all the guys over there, they do a good job with it, and it's they love that. They've good for them too, putting that many hunters in the woods,
and that's
pretty awesome.
Makes for a pretty darn good payday. I'm going to think that each of the four dogs in the final four probably took home around 530 to 540 dogs. Jamie sent me that he paid out $600. Oh yeah, sorry, dollars each.
Dollars.
He sent me a message.
Said dogs, I think.
That's a lot of dogs. He had sent me a message that he paid out $697 each, but I'm thinking that Calcutta is figured into that figure to make that work. But man, what a payday for some of those guys.
Same thing, yeah. Just adds up more entries. Here again, cast winners, they get their entry fee back first. You know, that comes out of the pot first.
Yeah, a couple of young guys here. The highest scoring dog on Wednesday night, Grand Night champion Morgan's Bones. That's a Trey and Walker, owned and handled by Jacob Brooks of Virginia, 650 plus.
I didn't look at his scorecard, but I heard somebody say that was on 3 coons, right?
Yeah, 3 coons.
3 coons in an hour, and that's not that hard in Indiana, really. You know, not where they're at. You know, but that's things got to work out. You know, but yeah, 650 plus, get the biggest part of both ends on that way. Well, how old is he? 17
years old.
17 years old. Congratulations, Jacob.
Old Bones was happy to be in northern Indiana and not in Virginia for a couple of days, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Also,
yeah,
we got here Grand Night champion Ocean Drive's Fortune Cookie. It's a young dog out of our world champion last year, Snooky's Cookie. And that's a tree and walker owned by Justin and the late Steve Davenport and Shane Groves.
yeah. That little dog's been winning a lot too. That's
Yeah.
just a young dog. Yep.
Also, we got night champion Schooner River Gunner here, tree and walker owned by Alan Holding and Jason and Jace Cooper. Jason Smith was hunting the dog, got 500 plus. Both of those dogs had 500 plus in an hour.
Yeah, those guys had a good weekend. We're going to talk about him some more here later on.
That's right. And then rounding out the final four that night was Grand Night champion Uncle Buck, tree and walker Ray Blankenship from Kentucky, 450 plus. Pretty salty cutoff for a Wednesday night.
Yep.
Couple coons.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, 132 entries on a Wednesday night. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, on Wednesday night, I actually loaded up and headed down to Versailles, Indiana. My first time I'd ever been down there, our newest satellite club for Autumn Oaks, to attend the Cross Plains UKC Pro Slam. They're hosted by the Bear Creek Coon Hunters. Just it's kind of smack dab between Versailles and Cross Plains, right in the middle of nowhere on kind of a little dead end gravel road and a really nice little bottom down there, away from everything. Got a nice little setting. I enjoyed
Yeah.
myself down there. I'm glad I got to go down there.
Yeah. Hey, this is the first time we had a pro slam here at Autumn Oaks and on a Wednesday night. We had to work at it, honestly, a little bit to get this sucker filled, and we didn't get it filled to 16. We got 12, and enough to make it a go, and hey, a lot of that had to do, you really pushed that one. So I kudos to you, Trevor, for really pushing that one, reaching out to some guys and kind of trying to get it filled up there in the last couple of days and made it happen, at least to 12. And even with that, the payout still didn't change a whole lot. Instead of having 4 dogs in the final, you now had 3. So obviously had a little less income, obviously quite a bit less income, but it didn't change the payout all that much. A little bit. The overall winner, it did not.
That's right. When we looked down and tried to figure out the split, obviously a good chunk came out of the club's portion. A chunk got taken out of UKC's portion, and we tried to keep it as true as we could to the original payout. $3,000 was still slated for first place, which it was advertised before the event. $1,000 was still slated for last place for the low for last place in the final cast of anyone who won their cast. So at least you doubled your money if you won your cast, but. I took off after we drew cast. I took some cast photos and things like that, and we ended up. I got a call about 1 o'clock in the morning from Jake Moore, who's with the club down there, who served as hunt director. And after he actually won his cast, he was kind of planning on being the one to judge the final cast if they needed him in a pinch. And now he got in, and he was working to try to get a hold of some of the other folks who we thought would be available to judge the cast. He couldn't get a hold of anyone, so they ended up having a split that night. Which was too bad, but all three guys agreed to it, and they each ended up taking home $1,800. So not a bad payday for a $500 entry and one cast win. So
No, it isn't. And we kind of set the rules for it to be a mandatory to hunt off for all of our pro slams, and hopefully, moving forward, we can make sure they have backup plans or a plan B, if that does happen. And hey, under the circumstances that night, we didn't have a whole lot of choice, but yeah,
yeah,
it is what it is. I was really hoping they could hunt it off. But yeah, so they ended up splitting, so we don't really have a winner.
yeah. So we'll talk about the 3 dogs that did win their cast and split the $1,800 each. First one was night champion Sweet River El Diablo. That was a 3-year-old Walker male owned and handled by Wyatt Monin of Iowa. Won his cast early with 375 plus.
Yeah, that dog is off of Wyatt's Hawk dog. That Hawk's he's done a lot of winning with Hawk. Had him in the TOC World Finals and has done a lot of winning. So this is a pup off of him, and that dog goes back to some of Ronnie Bain and Bellers' stuff. What's up Spot, what's up Doc, and those dogs. Wyatt, he's done pretty good at our events here in the last 3 or 4 years, hasn't he?
Sure has. He's done well, and he's part of Tier 1 Custom Squallers, sponsor of our events, so I always enjoy seeing Wyatt at our events, and he's had some darn good luck. Now he's got a young dog to keep carrying him into the future.
Yeah.
Second dog here that split for $1,800. This was a dog named Death and Taxes. That was a 2-year-old tree and walker male owned by Leon Marner, handled by Kyle Roberts. They're from Indiana there, and they had 350 plus in the early round.
Yeah, I think it was Tuesday night. I actually met him out in the campground. I mentioned, we talked about going out and hanging out with some folks and this and that. And I met him out there at the campground on, I think it was Tuesday night, maybe.
Nice.
Maybe Wednesday night. Might have been Wednesday night on this. he must have had somebody else handling the dog, I guess.
Yeah, Kai Roberts
Uh,
was.
yeah, so yeah, that's right. And so I got to meet him, but yeah, that dog is just a PR dog. Doesn't have a night champion title or anything, but he's off that off Money Max Out is what he's off of.
Little Money.
Kevin, yeah, Little Money, Kevin Cable's dog that Kevin used to have there. So yeah, bred well.
And rounding out the final three that night, like I said, was Jake Moore, the local guy who was putting the event on for us, hunt director, and wearing the man of many hats that night. Got his $1,800 by winning this cast with a dog named Lane Frost as a 3-year-old Tree and Walker male owned by Jacob Edmondson of Tennessee. He won his cast with 2 1/4.
Yeah, Jake doesn't hunt much UKC. Every now and then he does. So this Lane Frost dog is one that has done a lot of winning in other registries and other formats. But yeah, he got him in here, and that dog is off of Electric Rodeo, the world champion. So he's bred pretty well too. The bottom side goes back to Al Nunneman's whole 9 yards dog, and yeah, good bred dogs, done a lot of winning, and did good here at the Pro Slam. So congratulations to all 3 of those guys.
Yeah. That was the end of a busy Wednesday and Thursday. Honestly, I guess probably you would agree with me here. As far as me and you go, Thursday is probably our kind of enjoy ourselves day. As far as early in the morning we have the confirmation show at 10 o'clock, but kind of the older breed department has some folks there that handle that, and I don't know. I just got to get around and talk to all the vendors and go to a lot of the campsites, and that's the day I did the bulk of my conversating with everybody and catching up with everybody until the dual championship stuff started up about 4:30 or 5.
Yeah, that's the same for me Thursday, especially in the forenoon, just some loose ends to here and there, but really the hardest part of our jobs, is kind of done by now. And it's a good time to, like you said, kind of go around, talk to some people and this and that, and kind of get ready for Thursday night.
And in some cases, it's about our last opportunity to go around and talk to people because Friday and Saturday are flat crazy. But man, Thursday was hot. But like we talked about in the kind of the intro there, man, everybody that I talked to was in really, really good spirits. I stopped at a bunch of different campsites. I talked to every single vendor, just shaking hands and saying hey to them. Don't get to see them very much, but I always love catching up with all of our vendor folks, and actually met a couple new people that I had never met before. So that was really fun.
Well, I think the one thing you kept hearing over and over again was even after, Sunday, thought there was the biggest crowd we had coming in on Sunday and Monday. There's some more come in, Tuesday, and by Wednesday it was the same thing. You heard it over and over again. It was really shaping up to be like, man, we're going to have a good crowd here, and we did, and you heard a lot of that, and there was just seemed to me. I drove around in the golf cart on Wednesday night, and I really feel like just looking around, we probably had more people on the grounds that I've seen on the grounds on a Wednesday night that I have seen since the 50th Automotive.
Yeah.
And that played out throughout the whole weekend.
Um,
Pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great to
And
hear.
I think people could feel that.
Yeah, for sure. I know whenever I tried to make a couple rounds on the golf cart throughout the weekend, man, it took longer than usual just because there was so many people and so many people to talk to. But that's a good thing.
Yep.
Busy's good.
Yep.
First, like I mentioned on Thursday at 10 o'clock, that was the deadline to enter into the confirmation show. That got fired up at 10:30, and before I building this here, they told me 167 total entries in the confirmation show on Thursday, and man, that's a crowd. That's counting the juniors and all the dogs as well, but that's a pretty dang good entry for a Thursday show.
Oh yeah, it is very good.
Our winner this year, and here we are alluding to Nikki again, but this was champion PR Moody Blues. That's a 3-year-old leopard female owned by Curtis Elburn and Becky Wright of Indiana. And if I'm not mistaken, Nikki was handling that dog.
I heard she was. I didn't get to see it, but I heard she was handling the dog.
Yeah, so that's continuing her good week there with winning that confirmation show, which is a huge honor. That's a lot of dogs in there, a couple of judges who don't hardly know anyone in the coonhound side of things, and a great honor to win that show. So.
Yeah, for sure. I was out there when the show first started, and they always start out with the junior showmanship or junior show classes of some kind, and they had a good number of kids there for that before the regular confirmation show.
Yeah, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward a couple hours, we had our national dual championship hunt over in the Coleman Center, and going into it, we had 84 pre-entries into the hunt, and I guess I had it feels like I had 30 people ask me about walking up. We did end up getting about 10 walk ups that night for 94 total entries. Ended up with some no shows and some females who came in to heat, or actually had a dog get injured during a warm up slam earlier that week. Had a and different things as happens. But 82 dogs ended up going to the woods, which is a pretty darn good hunt on a Thursday night there, especially with a big slam right down the road as well. So happy with 82 dogs going to the woods there.
Yep, absolutely.
Uh,
And that's always fun on that first night for us, kind of kicks off Autumn Oaks, Thursday night. And good crowd in the Kuhlman Center for draw time, too.
It was. It was really good. Ended up sending 23 casts to the woods. They separate out into their individual breeds and get to hunt against people in their own breed, and that's always kind of fun. A lot of them know each other, so they've hunted against each other several times at breed days and different things. But 21 of the 23 casts came back with a plus point cast winner, and you're kind of looking at the cast winners and who's advancing to the show the next day. You had 3 black and tans. Actually, didn't even have a leopard entered into the hunt, so didn't have a national dual champion leopard this year. 3 blue ticks advanced to the show, 3 English, 2 plots, 3 red bones, and 7 walkers. So it was going to be a competitive show on Friday afternoon. We knew that.
It was, Nicole said like he calls the show on Friday and Saturday for Autumn Oaks, but I get to go over and call the dual championship portion of the show. That's Friday after the registered, so get over there. And it was soon afternoon, man. I think 12:30 is when we started. But yeah, the 21 dogs, 21 plus point cast winners, and that's kind of cool. I know you're busy over there in the hunt office at that time. It's too bad you can't see that, because I thought this year was as a cool a setup as we've had so far. We called all the dogs one by one, went through the scorecards, and I can announce their scores here, what they had. And it was just cool.
Mm-hmm.
For all of starting with the black and tans, and then just take them all in the ring at one time, and announce them all. And once we've done that, then they come out of the ring, and then they just go in by their breeds, for the classes. And we don't do any more announcing until the winners, obviously announce the winners of each class. And did it in 2 show rings, and it was just really cool. And the other thing I'll say about it, and I really appreciate folks that hung around, and we had a good crowd, the best crowd we've ever had to see this national dual championship show portion.
Good. That's a huge
awesome
accomplishment.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about the winners of that, or you want to finish up Thursday before we move on to Friday?
That's fine. As it were, they select one dog to win the breed, and I just want to mention Kelly's K-Light. That they sponsor, they present the National Dual Championship. They give us hunting lights. Every breed winner gets a hunting light, and then the overall also had we gave the Pathfinder to. And then Kelly's K-Light also gave the thermal for the winner. So it was a pretty good package for this one this year. And the overall winner, as it were, was an English female. First time an English has won. So it's kind of been spread around a little bit. We've had, what have we had? Leopards. Now Plots won the first one. We've had a leopard winner. We've had a walker winner, black and tan. Mm-hmm. And now this year we had an English winner. So, and this was a dog owned by Colton and Gunnar Hine of Salina, Ohio. Those are John Hine's boys. And this is a dog that you mentioned walk-ups. This dog was a walk-up, entered there on the ground. So it all worked out for them. Black Jack's Hard Time Nova. She's a blue tick colored English female, sired by Coon Valley Black Jack. That goes back to Main Street Jack. So this dog's bred pretty good, Main Street Jack stuff. So you kind of know what that is. But yeah, just a nice class of 7 dogs, and I'm not sure if we have it anywhere on the that final class on any of our Coonhound media stuff. Probably do have some pictures somewhere, but I took a video of the 7 when they were all up there. So folks that can go to my page and check that out. I posted that video yesterday, I think. But just a cool class, and congratulations to Colton and Gunnar Hine with their Nova dog. She's a national dual champion.
Yeah, I'm thinking...
bred by James Ferris, this dog was.
Thinking Bradley Kelly handled that dog during the hunt on Thursday night, and is it Janet Emery handled it during the show on Friday?
Janet handled the dog in the show.
Yeah. So, and a pretty good lineup here, like you said. Black and tan breed winner was Dual Grand Gilman's Moonshine's Honeydew. That's Misty Yarrington and David Gilman from Illinois. Blue Tick Breed winner was Night champion Michael's Midnight Dink's Little Dot, owned by Jerry and Donnie Michael of Indiana. Plot Breed winner, we got a long one here. Night champion, Grand Field champion 2, Grand Water champion 3, URO 1, Confirmation champion, Grand champion 4, RH Pioneer Ivy HTX Spot O. Jason Bigley from Missouri.
That's still the same dog you're talking about there.
We were calling out these dogs, and Jacob Coons was the judge of the cast, and he was up there standing with me already while you were calling out this dog to the hunt. I said, "Oh, I hope that's not the name he calls the dog by in the woods." He said, "I may get a first strike then. I don't know." But,
yeah.
Redbone Breed winner, Grand Night champion East Fork OK Red Penny B, female owned by TJ Bolin of Illinois. And the Walker Breed winner was Grand Night champion 2, champion Mr. Hyde, a male tree and walker owned by Ashley Dalton of West Virginia. So there's our 6 breed winners. Like I said, no leopard this year in that. So hopefully one gets entered up into that last year, and we can have a full slate of breeds out there.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Thursday night, because again, a warm-up slam was held at Delaware County Coon Hunters in Selma, Indiana. And on Thursday night, we talked about having an 82 dog hunt in Richmond, and then just about however long Selma is away, 45 minutes to an hour away in Selma, 149 dogs go into the woods on Thursday night. And looking back to the history, that's the second largest I could find behind last year's number, where they hunted in the 160s there. So really, really good hunt on a Thursday night again for the Delaware County Club.
Yeah, and it didn't cool off much by Wednesday or Thursday night. It was still toasty.
That night, the Final Four split 540 each, plus some Calcutta stuff, so pretty similar to what they had done the night before, pretty close to entry numbers there. Final Four, again, Drop Dead Fred, tree and walker owned by Eric Yeager of Indiana, handled by Austin Terrell, 8.25 an hour. He was getting after it. They say Austin has some of the best. I actually talked to someone who drew him and said he had some of the better hunting they had ever seen. So that tells you, if that tells you anything about the spots he was taking them on creeks with corn nearby. So that's what you got to have in that time of year.
Yeah, he guided all weekend. His cast all had good scores all weekend.
Here's a local dog where I'm from down there in Southeast Tennessee. Grand Night champion World War Z, owned by Jonathan Moses and Joshua Sparks. 600 plus. Josh Jones was down there handling that dog, or up there handling that dog this week. Night champion Priest's Backwater Jill, a tree and walker owned by Kenny Priest of Kentucky, at 350 plus. And then I thought this was neat here. A little 10-month-old dog, Goutier's Walter, a tree and walker owned by Mark Goutier of Canada, at 350 plus, and it was actually handled by his young daughter that he had with him.
Yeah, we saw them. They were down at Liberty. Yeah. We saw them all weekend long, but I first saw them at the Liberty Slam on Tuesday night, he and his daughter, and it was good to meet them. They're excited to be there, and you could tell they were having a good time at Autumn Oaks this year. So, and then with this 10-month-old pup, basically, and does good. So, yeah, congratulations to all of those winners. Absolutely.
That's right. Something to be proud of.
Absolutely.
Oh, so here we go. Friday at Autumn Oaks. By far, and can't even think of a day that's close to this, is by far the most stressful day of the calendar year for our hunting ops team, I would have to say.
Well, yes and no. I think, and I get it. When it'd just be Kellum and I. Kellum was kind of the me, I guess, as when we're talking about you and I. I know how that can be. You want to make sure you have enough guides. You're always kind of concerned about that. And when we have walk-ups, that we really don't know. That's kind of an unknown. In the last several years, we've had a lot of walk-ups. So that really adds to the stress level, to be honest.
Right.
Now, we were well covered in the grands, but the champions and registered, man, that's another story. Not as many guides, and we needed a bunch of them, but I don't know what it is. It seems, and I've done it for a long time, I guess, but I think, I don't know if it was that way for Kellum too, or what have you, but I can sense a little bit when you're a little stressed out. That just makes me the opposite of that. But I don't know if it's just experience or whatever. But knowing that, hey, you're going to come through with it, and even then, it always has a way of working out somehow. But
yeah,
hey, even with all that, you do pretty dang good under stress. That's for sure. But you're right. Friday can be a little stressful. Yeah. It's the biggest day of the week right there.
Yeah, there's no better feeling than about 5 o'clock whenever all the dogs are gone and you can get ready for the concert and all that stuff. But Before we get ahead of ourselves here, everything got kicked off at 9 o'clock over in the Expo Center with the registered portion of the show. And I was able to get some numbers here. 36 registered males were entered, 58 registered females were entered, for a total of 94 dogs that hit the ring in the registered division. And after it all shook out, after we gave away all our class ribbons and our breed ribbons, and got down to crown our best male and best females of the show. The best male was Hat Creek Royal Ruger. That's a dog owned by Richie McDonald, and I assume Amy McDonald was probably handling the dog. I shouldn't speak out of turn because I haven't seen that, but I know that they have a pretty darn good thing going in the past several years with a couple of dogs they've been showing and having a lot of success with. So congratulations to them. Best female show was another blue tick here, Rockin' W's My Only Sunshine, a dog owned by Whitney Killo. So blue ticks kind of cleaned up the registered division. Congratulations to those winners. We've talked about the National Dual Championship show, which happened directly after that. And by the time you got done with that and got over to us, we were ready to stick some cards. So you got to come in and get in the hustle and bustle of the hunt office, and you and Doug knocked out the grands while some of the other field reps teamed up to take on Nite Champion and registered, and we were getting ready.
That's a fun part of the day as far as entries is, once we got everything done at the deadline's up, and go back to get everything taken care of. And I love working with Doug. Doug's been on since I think the second year that I've been here. So he's been here for 19 years and has helped do that for about that long. So it's good to have somebody like Doug too. But it's like that's the biggest class, the Grand Night class or whatever. And he and I sitting down there, I love that, to get your hands dirty a little bit and get in there and help you out with that.
You guys have at least been doing that the past 5 years. Like, since I've been here, I think you and him have teamed up on that grands most of the time. So it's a big help for me.
Yeah, and I love that.
Opening ceremonies was after that, and that was kind of a cool time. You had the mayor come in with the lady there who sang the national anthem, did an awesome job.
Yeah, Cindy Slick.
Yeah, and then mayor, and then after the commissioner came
county
in.
Commissioner came in. Yeah.
She had an inspiring speech for all the Walker enthusiasts out there, get everybody fired up. But that was all good. And then
she loves people. She loves Autumn Oaks, and she was a little animated maybe, but she really loves everybody coming to Autumn Oaks and everybody coming.
Yeah, we have to have people like that in our corner to keep our events in places like this. But then one of the first things you do on during opening ceremonies is talk about our Autumn Oaks Slam Series winner. So we had our 3 nights of warm-up slams, which we've talked about Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. And what we do is we take the results from all 3 nights and figured out who won the most casts. I think we might have had at least a couple dogs that won 3 casts. So we ended up going to who had the most plus points accrued throughout the weekend. And if you've been listening to the results so far, it's probably no surprise. The winner this year was Nite Champion Drop Dead Fred. That's a 4-year-old Tree and Walker male, again owned by Eric Yeager of Evansville, Indiana, with being handled by Austin Terrell. 3 cast wins through the weekend. Obviously on Tuesday night we talked about a 550 plus in the final 4. Wednesday he was able to grind out a cast win with 175 plus, and then on Thursday 8 1/4, a high scoring dog, and made it to the final 4. Given a 3-night combined score of 1550 plus, and got an extra $500 for his trouble. So I think he had a pretty darn good week for the billfold.
He sure did. This is also a time probably to just mention Bad Habit again. R.J. Archer, Colleen, his wife, they were set up right outside in the big white tent right on the east side of the Kuhlman Center, the hunt office there, and selling their supplies. But they they sponsor the $2,000 added purses, and the $500 of that goes to the dog that had the most cast wins, and certainly appreciate Mr. RJ and them sponsoring this. And they were excited. Their whole crew was excited to be there, and we'll probably see a whole lot more of them. And we certainly appreciate Bad Habit supporting our event.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the Friday night hunt numbers. We had 383 pre-entries. We ended up taking 88 walk-ups, so that's a total of 471 total entries for Friday night. 411 of those ended up going to the woods, and some no-shows, some switches, to Saturday. Some injured dogs, things like that always happen. The breakdown of dogs that actually went to the woods on Friday night: 271 Grand Nights, 71 night champions, 69 registereds. And like you mentioned, guides were a little spotty that night. Grands had more than enough guides. I don't know if you guys ended up having to make a couple more 3-dog casts than the numbers may have bared out. I wasn't over there with you guys.
No, there was. I can tell you exactly. We had all 4-dog casts except for one on Friday.
So
one 3-dog cast. Everything was 4-dog except for one.
Probably didn't use all the guides we had then over there.
No, we could not. Yeah. And like you and I talked about is. We already noticed, up here when we pre-drew the cast, the week before, that we had like 9 of them that we couldn't use at the time, that we held back and actually didn't put them on a card in case, and use them first if we can. Yeah. And we got to use all of them. But it was some of the walk-ups we could just not use, and I think we did the fairest thing we could, kind of held off on the latest walk-up entries are the ones that we didn't use, and went ahead and used those that are entered in advance. There's so many different ways you could do that, and I know there was a couple of guys that were a little frustrated, and it's a good problem to have. But when you can't use them, you can't use them, and it's the best I can tell you is, gosh, number one, we greatly appreciate everybody that can help us guide. That's a big deal, and for a big hunt like this. But I get it. It's also disappointing for those that don't get to guide. But if you really, really want to guide, it's a big, big deal to you. The best I can tell you is enter in advance.
As soon as
get your dog entered in advance and assure you can guide. And do it early. Yep. Do it early. The earlier the better you're gonna be in. Yeah. So we can, there's different, like I said, there's different things you could do. You could go by who's the closest and this and that. But then if you're not careful, you can just get in the mud with it too much. And I think the best way to do it, we just went with the first ones we had entered is what we went with.
Yeah. I can't think of any better way to do it. To me, that's a no-brainer. I can understand people making arguments for proximity and things like that, but to me, first come, first serve is always the best one. First in, first out, FIFO. So, to say that we had to turn away grand guides, and we just did not have enough night champion and registered guides. The splits there weren't anywhere close to even, and actually, by the time we got all the cash drawn and looked at it, I think we were, we had 20. I think we had 20 non-hunting guides in our pocket from the grounds and the 3 satellite clubs to work with. And I was still, I think, 12 short when we were done drawing cast, and that's whenever you kind of go into let's figure this out mode. Called some of the satellite clubs, was able to scrounge up a couple. We were able to combine a couple of the night champion casts. We of course had so many night champions that moved up to grand nights because they'll enter in their night champions at the time. In that last month, they try to accrue their wins to move up, so that always leaves night champion a little barren on Friday night. So we were able to combine a couple of those casts. We got rid of 4 casts that way. And then, honestly, Bryant gave us a couple extra guides. And the grounds, Tyler Stroh was able to scrounge us up like 5 or 6 guides. And we were able to get every dog that entered on Friday night in the woods. And I was extremely happy to do that and not have to give refunds out and turn people away.
Yeah. And, we have so far since I've been here, we have never anybody on the waiting list or anything like that. And in this case, we don't have a waiting list anymore, but a walk-up. Those would have been the first ones not to get to hunt, but hey, we made it happen. And Tyler and Bryant and Wayne County, they helped us out with it. We got them all in the woods. Yep. So kudos to them.
I did have 2
people working together.
I did have a couple thoughts to maybe just talk about on here, and I don't know if just us thinking out loud, we did talk about a couple different ideas, and maybe if we're planting the seed for the future here, I don't know what it is, what will come of it, but we've had preliminary thoughts, stumbling on my words here, about the idea of making it to where registered dogs have to hunt on Saturday night to kind of even out the guide distribution a little bit. And I don't know, we have probably 30 some registered dogs. So we have 69 registered dogs there hunting on Friday night. That'd be a pretty good chunk of guides, to use towards our night champions and make it more evenly distributed. So that's kind of us planting the seed a little bit, maybe, or thinking out loud of things we're going to have to do, as we lose hunting grounds and things change and shift. And it seems like we're getting more people hunting in grands and less in other places. just something for us to think about, and trying to think of a way to the most efficient way to fix a problem that we see without totally affecting the hunt for the entire weekend.
Yeah, no, you're right. We have talked about that, and the one thing that it would do is, that we have a lot better guide availability on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And a lot of those, they wouldn't have to drive as far, for one, to hunt, and we're not wearing out our guides as thin either on that night, and it kind of makes sense. Maybe have them hold off register till Saturday. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it may have to. We may have to do something. It's either that or turn people away, and that's not a good thing either. And champions, same thing with night champions. They could hunt Saturday as well too, or a lot of them could. Now it makes sense to that somebody might be, when they enter, they might be nearing that 5 wins or close to a grand, to where they'd want to move up to grands. And even if somebody does that, enters a night champion for Saturday, if they finish their dog to grand before Oaks, and just doesn't show up yet, they entered them for Saturday. Only in that case will we allow them to switch back to Friday.
Yeah, that's right.
If that's the case. But yeah, so hey, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, just thinking out loud.
Yeah.
So had a really good hunt Friday night. I think everything went pretty smooth. Didn't hear of many issues. Obviously, maybe a couple questions here or there, but that you putting that many cats in the woods, you're bound to have several questions, and questions aren't always bad. But
no, they're not. And hey, I want to bring up this one, Trevor. I think it's just fine to always say questions aren't a bad thing. Reasonable questions. We get sometimes a lot of them are unreasonable, and shame on some of those guys that bring in an unreasonable question, but if it's done right, there's good reason. And just sometimes we may, I don't know. We had one that got brought in on Friday night, that actually went to a panel. Ended up going to a panel, and Master Hounds made his decision, and there are field reps, and still the feller thought that it wasn't the right decision, and he filed an appeal, and it's the first one that we have had in a bunch of years. And I think it was just I'm not sure exactly, and I can tell you one thing: a lot of Master Hounds are going to get this one wrong. But it had to do with an unfortunate situation where a landowner came out and basically chased him off of not being able to score one tree, and then there's dogs declared treed after that before timeout was called. This guy coming out is what forced a timeout to be called. And I guess they were thinking, hey, this is a bad deal for the first dog, that everybody should be in the same boat. Well, the others were in a place where it didn't affect them, and it was kind of a bad deal for the first guy, but we still have to score that last one. And what I want to say about that is, at the end, that was a good one that got handled correctly, and the right decision was made in the end. And it played a part. The dog went on to be in the Grand 16 and actually made it to the Final Four. So there's one that where everybody involved here, and this is what I want to bring it up. Everybody involved conducted themselves the way they should have, professionally, and in the end, got it right. And it didn't matter who or what or when or where. We got we got it right, and it made a difference in the winter. It made a difference in a dog going to the Grand 16. So it was a big deal. That's the way it's supposed to work and what it's for. Everybody was reasonable. They had a reasonable question and got it right in the end. And that's what it's about, man. It's just a good one to use as an example.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So we fast forward,
and the other thing I will say about this: the official that made the call, and it's one of our officials, that he questioned, that went on to a panel. He wasn't offended by it either.
Yeah.
So that's all good. Everybody's human, and it's like I said, there's a lot of Master Hounds would not get that right either. So I'm not going to criticize anybody. It was a good question. It really was.
Really good question.
But it's one that there's been precedents set for it a long time, and right away I was like, man, it's a good question brought back. And instead, rather this than going on social media sites and complaining about something that they didn't follow procedures.
Yeah.
Get it correct.
That's right.
We always say this: help us help you. This was one of those.
Yeah, good point. So let's fast forward to Saturday morning now. Early Saturday morning, 9 a.m. We've input all the we get up early. We input all the scores and everything into the system from Friday night. We got our list of cast winners ready. We have our Grand 16 lists ready, and over at 9 a.m. in the Expo Center is whenever the show starts. So again, don't get to go over there and watch much of that show because we have so much hunt stuff going on for uh, all that stuff going on over there. But good show over here today. Champion and Grand Champions on Saturday. Champion entries, 44 males and 44 females, 88 total, right down the middle. So
Right down the middle.
and I'm tickled to see this. The champion male, champion Lost Heritage Smooth Criminal, Tree and Walker, owned by Joe Moore of Pennsylvania. Joe was at the Pro Slam on Wednesday night in Cross Plains, hunted in the dual championship on Thursday night. Was showed in the confirmation show early Thursday morning, and here he is, got one of the 6 category wins. Is a guy who hunts and shows and has true dual purpose hounds, and just glad to see a guy like that win.
Hey, me too. I wanted to give Joe a little plug here, and kudos to him. He came up through the youth series, and I've known Joe for a long time, and that's a stand-up guy like that. Man, you can't help but root for good guys, and Joe's certainly one of them. Congratulations to them for their big win here at Autumn Oaks.
Champion female, one that is going to seem familiar because we just talked about this dog from its big Thursday night win. But the champion female this year was Champion Moody Blues, a leopard female owned by Curtis Elburn and Becky Wright, and they're out of Indiana there. Not sure if Nikki was handling this time. I guess I'll have to wait to see the win pictures, but I know she had a big part in the dog and part of her big week in Richmond.
Yeah, that's a pretty big win out of 44 females.
Yep, absolutely. Then after that was the kids show, and I wasn't over there. I saw a few pictures, but I'm really ready to see some of the candids that we'll see from Tracy that she took and things like that of all the kids in there showing their different dogs and puppies and everything else. I always love seeing the candids of that show. And then right after that, you give the judges a little bit of a break, and then you bring in the grand champions. It's time for the kind of the grand finale of the weekend over there in the Expo Center. The last dogs in the ring, and they had a really good entry: 46 males and 34 females for a total of 80 dogs. Opposite sex this year was water champion, grand champion, Midnight Brindle Gina. That is a plot female owned by Connie Hogan. Obviously, Scott and Connie Hogan have done a lot of winning with that dog. May seem familiar. That dog just won opposite sex at our World Championship last year. And the overall show winner was World Show Champion, Grand Champion, Gilman's Good Time Blues, owned by Kelly and Dave Myers out of Pennsylvania. And kind of the funny thing here, that is last year's World Show Champion. So it's a little bit of deja vu as you got the World Champion in the opposite sex of Autumn Oaks this year is the exact same as the World Championship last year.
Yeah, isn't that something? And that puts Good Time Blues in a very small lineup of dogs to ever have won the Nationals or the Autumn Oaks and the World Championship. And I can't even tell you. I should have probably looked it up, but I don't know how many that is. Very, very few. And it's going to be one of just a couple that have done that. So congratulations to both of them. And then the opposite sex, same way. But let's start here with the opposite sex. Brindle Gina, she is kind of a homebred, bred and raised dog of Connie and Scott Hogan up there in Pennsylvania. Is off of a dog named Midnight I Am Gino, who goes back to a dog that they used to show a lot and hunt a lot. True dual-purpose dog, a night champion Brindle Blitz. I used to see that, or we used to see that dog a lot at the hunts and the shows in years past. So that'd be the granddaddy to this dog, and then the mother of this dog, Burning Flame, is directly off of their world champion Donner. So obviously Gina, she is well bred, and they've had a lot of success with her already. Come up as the opposite sex winner, and then Gilman's Good Time Blues is off of a dog named Gilman's Good Time Charlie, which is a dog that we've seen a lot, has done so much winning, and goes back to another dog. Lucky Old Son is a 2-time Autumn Oaks winner and has produced a lot of winners. The Lucky Old Son has, and here's just Blues is just one of those offspring, second generation offspring now, and but just a product of some outstanding breeding, for confirmation in that. And bottom side is Gilman's Small Time Scandal. This dog was bred by Mr. David Gilman here, but congratulations to Dave and Kelly Myers, man. Good Time Blues national champion.
What a year for them. And I think, obviously at that time of day, we're both tied up over there getting ready. We had a bunch going on, putting on had a few different hunts going on. Grand 16 hunt. We had the Pro Slam hunt going over there, and obviously getting ready for the big Saturday night portion of the Autumn Oaks hunt. So we had to lean on the staff a little bit, and like she has for the past couple of years, Nicole Sedlecki was actually able to sit down with Kelly and Dave Myers. So here's the interview that she conducted with Kelly and Dave shortly after their win of being named National Grand Champion.
All right, Nicole Sedlecki here with Kelly and Dave Myers, and owners of World Show Champion, Grand Champion, and now National Grand Champion, Gilman's Good Time Blues. Congratulations, you two. How's it feel?
Thank you.
I don't know. It's still like overwhelming to us, to me anyway. It hasn't sunk in.
Have you won a national grand best in show here at Autumn Oaks before?
I've never even shown in the finals here. So,
oh, really?
No, this is the first year I've ever shown in the National Grand Finals. I've never actually had a grand make it into either one of the competitions. So I've won, on Friday at the registered show, I've done some winning in the champion classes, but this is the first year I've ever actually won anything in the grand class. So it's a little extra special, I guess, because it's like, I guess I set the bar really high. Yeah, so.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations again. And tell me about this dog.
Well, I think I'll let Dave take this one because he's really good at remembering all the pedigrees and things like that. But he's a black and tan male. He's 4 years old. We got him actually 2 years ago at Autumn Oaks. So he's 4 now. So we got him when he was 2. We got him at Autumn Oaks, and so we've put a lot of work into him.
He's done well. Like last year, we were down out at Mount Gilead for the 23 World Show, and he performed like he's one of those dogs that you almost know, like every time you go into a competition, he's going to give 110%, and just gotta roll with the punches with him, and that's how I was talking to, I believe it was Penny up there when we were getting the pictures, and it was either Penny or Christina, and they were saying about how well they liked him, and it was Christina actually, and she said about that, and like, we said that we felt like he had a good shot, but I feel like a lot of people think that, and then you get here and then you see all the other top level dogs.
Oh, for sure.
And then you think, okay, you need everything to like fall in place. Like, you got to hope your dog performs, and it's just, there's so many variables that come into play. And it really helps that he always shows up with, ready to do what he does. And he likes doing what he does.
Yeah. And he had to show up multiple times because he showed to Christina Officer, correct, in the breed?
Yes.
Correct. Yep.
First class of the day. Well, I guess first class for the grand champions of the day.
Yep.
And then had to go against the female.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went in for overall under Penny.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's how.
What's this dog like at home?
A pleasure. He really is. Yeah, he's a fun guy. He likes to go. We actually gets turned in the yard to play with our other dogs, and he has a Kong ball. He loves his Kong ball. That's his favorite toy, and he's just like a really fun loving dog. He's always happy. Like Dave said, when he comes to show, like when he's on the bench or when we're working on groundwork, like he considers those things his job. Like that's what he's very serious about it. He always performs for us well, and at that level, we almost have to like have a nice dog, and they have to perform well for you to do well. So he's definitely a special boy for us.
Who's he out of? What's his pedigree look like?
So he is out of David and Misty's male dog, Gilman's Good Time Charlie, is a sire, and Charlie, he goes back to Margaritaville.
Which Joe powers the power stuff. Yeah.
He goes back to Sonny.
Mm-hmm.
And so in Sonny, he's done very well here. He was a 2-time national grand champion here. But and then on the bottom side is a lot of Terry Dolbear's breeding, and there was some breeding that there was a cross that we had done years ago, which actually played a little bit of a part in it, just a small part. But I mean, I forget what was her name, Holly.
Yeah, his mom.
Yeah,
Holly.
And there's a lot of people that played a lot of parts in it.
And so you got him when he was 2.
Mm-hmm.
What drew you to him, or how did that come about?
I fell in love with him the first time I seen him at Black and Tan Days in Peru, Indiana.
Who had him at the time?
David Misty had him. He was a 9-month-old pup, and his brother Cobra had actually just won Black and Tan Days that year. But I fell in love with him then, and I tried to buy him. You know, we just hang around and joke with him, like, you know, hey, I'll take him home, and it, you know, and it just kind of this went on every time we'd see him, and then eventually the one year out here, they knew that we were, you know, how serious we were.
Yeah.
We did want to buy him, like we joked about it, but
you weren't really joking.
Yeah, we were just, you know, and they give us the opportunity. I mean, we're forever grateful for it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they're proud with all that you've done with them
they
too,
are,
right?
you know, I'm sure, like, I would be like very proud if you have a dog, especially that, I mean, they're his breeders. I mean, they made the cross, and it was their dogs that made Blue. So I'm sure they're very proud of what he's accomplished in his show career, and we just love him. I mean, he's really pretty much everything that we like in a Black and Tan, and you know, we're really excited to see. We actually just had his first litter of puppies. They're 14 weeks old, so I'm so excited to send their papers in now, and his name's going to be so cool.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I'm very excited.
So yeah, what's in future?
Well,
what is his call name actually?
We call him Blue. So.
Blue, okay.
Or Boo Boo.
Yeah,
is like.
Everybody's extra nickname.
All of our
Boo-boo.
dogs have like
They
an
do.
extra pet name.
Yeah.
Just one extra.
He's Boo Boo.
So yeah, he's the black dog named Blue. That's what he's kind of known as in the world out there. He's a black dog named Blue, and you know, he's qualified. Actually, it's funny. We were not in the top 10 in our breed a month ago because I mean, we just hadn't really been anywhere, and it's like, wow, we should probably go somewhere.
We had the puppies at home, so
We
it
had
kind of tied
puppies.
us down for
Right.
a while.
Yeah, so we went to West Virginia State, and we actually won both days at West Virginia State, and I think we were number 1. The points hadn't been updated yet, but from what I figured out, and now like I don't have to worry about it at all after Oaks. Like I don't know why I was so worried about the top 10, but so I'm excited. Like I'd really like to. We won the breed there last year, but it'd be really nice. A Winter Classic. I haven't been to too many Winter Classics. Like probably like 3 or 4 since the top 10 event has been there. It's kind of a draw because you can go to show in that and also show in the regular show. So I've never, you know, we won the breed last year. It'd be great to compete in the top 10 again. And we've never won. He's never won the Winter Classic, and we've never really had a dog that was super competitive in their prime at the Winter Classic. So I'd still really like to show him just in a couple of those shows. And he's never won King at his breed days. So those are kind of like his little bucket list yet that I'd like to try to get him wins at. So
yeah, because I think so. Kelly and Blue's very first show together was at the Grand American. What year was that? 23, yeah.
Yeah.
And they ended up pulling off an overall win at the Grand American.
Yeah.
So it was kind
For
of
your very first show with them?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I think we'll keep him.
There was a lot of work that went into them.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, kudos to Misty because Misty did an exceptional job with him. Like, I mean, we can't take all the credit for you know how he performs. I mean, Misty has. You just
put him in drive and get going, right?
Yep. Singled him out. Like, he's really our only show dog. Like I kind of have to keep showing him because I don't have anything else right now to show. So he has, like I said, he's got the puppies, and we're excited to see what he can produce, and hopefully, I'm really excited for next year Oaks to see, you know, everybody that got one. And I know there were a couple other crosses made this year, so I'm hoping that the registered Black and Tans will have some numbers next year and really good quality out there. So that's exciting.
Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
So happy for you guys.
Thank you.
And we'll see you. It sounds like we'll see you at Winter Classic.
Hopefully. Yep. Weather dependent.
Really
course.
looking forward to it.
From the Northerners.
With Eukanuba, stamina is the one difference I'm seeing. When I'm running hair up north, my dogs will put on 10, 12, 15 miles of solid running, and they just don't tire as easily or as quickly. Oftentimes, my work schedule does not allow me to have the desired physical conditioning on my dogs, but even then, as many as 25 or more miles a day of hard running is just another day in the office. To me, it's been apparent Eukanuba's 30-20 sport formula is making that difference. Eukanuba, the official performance dog nutrition partner of UKC.
So there we go. Just to kind of put a bow on that show, 80 grands, 88 champions, 94 registered over the 2 days. That's 262 entries. You throw in the 21 dual champions, and that gives you 283 total dogs shown over 2 days there. So really appreciate Penny Turner and Christina Officer for the jobs they did in putting up some really nice dogs and judging the show for us this year.
Yeah, and then they had 160 some on Thursday night. A pretty good turnout this year over there in the expo hall.
That's right. Now we'll talk about something that was going on over in the Coleman Center, kind of running in this parallel to this, in conjunction with it. At 11 a.m. on Saturday morning, we had a little Grand 16 meeting, and we kind of do it behind doors sometimes, and you elected to do it out in the open in front of the projector that was showing that scrolling through the 16 dogs' names, and I thought that turned out pretty good. We actually had a pretty decent little crowd there circled around and in the bleachers. I was listening to your spiel, talking to the 16 handlers. I think Josh Michaelis was there videoing it. It's on the Camstream Media YouTube page right now, but that's pretty cool.
It is, and I love that. There's nothing to why have it back in a room, which we used to kind of have it kind of separated, so everybody can hear well, but that's a fun time. Be up close with all the handlers, and just go over the format, make sure nobody has any questions, this and that, instead of trying to explain it to everybody that it doesn't really apply to, on Saturday night. And it and not just that, but folks that can sit around and be, behind in the bleachers and listen in, and I love that. They kind of know what's going on if there's anybody that's interested, and just kind of go over everything with the format and answer any questions anybody might have. But I also want to give a shout out to our presenting sponsor for the Grand 16, and that's Yoder Nylon. Marty Yoder, he kind of upped the prize package this year. Every in years past, the winners always got the boots from Yoder Nylon. This year they added a hunting vest for everybody, so 16 of those. They got the nice Buddy Bulls, and then also a Squaller. But and not just that, but Marty also, and he and his crew did a big drawing. They gave away a dog box, a Diamond Deluxe dog box, I think it were a dog box, a pair of boots, and then also one of the new thermals this year. Did a drawing for that, and anybody stop by their booth could put in fill out a raffle ticket, and they had that drawing on Saturday. And that is kind of, for 30 years they've been in business now. They just wanted to do a customer appreciation deal at Autumn Oak, so I think that went over pretty well, and it looked like he had a lot of tickets in there. So appreciate everybody going by and seeing Marty and that, and he's done a lot for the sport here in the last several years in sponsorships and things like that. So thank you to Marty and everything he does for us.
That's right, man. What a prize package already, and then obviously they got their trophies for getting in the Grand 16, and then also Matt Lingo with Houndsman Advantage, who was there set up, also gave them a nice hat and decal of his new business venture for all those in the Grand 16. So they had getting in the Grand 16, they got a pretty good handful of stuff there to take with them, and it was kind of neat. They came in, first thing he did is kind of a roll call there, getting everybody's boot sizes, and while we were in the middle of the meeting, Marty ran off to his trailer and came back with a load of boots, and everybody got their boots before they left the meeting. So that was the way to do it. That was a pretty darn cool meeting. So if you haven't seen that, go to Camstream Media's page, and you can check out that Grand 16 meeting if you want to check it out there. Let's see. Shortly after that, we're getting ready for confirmations. Confirmations for the Saturday night hunt was from 12 to 2, taking walk-ups and all that stuff. But at the same time, we got the Autumn Oaks UKC Pro Slam going on, the $1,000 entry, 16 dogs, and I was kind of keeping an eye on that. I knew after Friday night, a lot of dogs would have been knocked out, and it would fill up, and it filled up pretty quickly. And they were all coming up during that time and giving us their dog information. And man, when we got done, and I had the 16 dogs, there in front of me listed out and labels and everything, that was a pretty strong field of 16 dogs, owners and handlers.
Yeah. It was a fun thing, too. We had the deadline set for 3 o'clock for that, kind of do it right ahead of the, the Autumn Oak stuff on Saturday night at 4 o'clock. And it was perfect. The timing was perfect for it. And kind of give them some promos there, I guess, so to speak, if you will. And did a Calcutta there. And that was a fun little thing to do. And first time we did it here at Autumn Oaks, we did it at the Winter Classic and worked out pretty well. And did it a little differently where we drew the dogs first, drew all 4 casts. And then we did Calcutta, the 4 dogs in each cast. And, for you were buying a cast winner, and the dog that you think is going to win the cast or what have you. And then whatever money was accumulated in that, for that cast is what and we paid everything out, 100% of it. So in all that, not just that, we did that. And then we also did a little side gig to win the overall. That generated $850 for that. But in all, the whole Calcutta deal turned out to be $3,460.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
There were some happy people. I think I got to hand out a couple of those chunks of cash to people late on Saturday night, and there were some smiling folks.
Yeah, it was just a fun little thing to do, and yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah. So same time that Calcutta's going on, we're kind of finalizing the Saturday night hunt stuff, giving people their entry numbers and the last bit of cast numbers, and getting ready for the hunt. We had 117 pre-entries into Saturday night's hunt. Ended up taking 62 walk-ups, so that made for a total of 179 entries, and actually sent 141 to the woods on Saturday. So pretty typical for a Saturday night hunt here, and that's also also had 16 dogs in the Grand 16 and 16 Pro Slam dogs going to the woods. So it was a good group of dogs going to the woods on Saturday night as well. Broke down like 63 night champions and 78 registered.
Yeah, so it's still very lopsided from Friday night. It almost seems like nothing as compared to Friday night. But still a pretty good number that goes out.
Yeah. And before we get to some of our overall winners, I just wanted to put a bow on the hunt like we did the show and talk total numbers, total entries. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Hey, the one thing we didn't mention is the procedure, for the Grand 16. Maybe you're coming to that, but that's also a fun little gig on the first thing on Saturday night.
Yeah,
is seeing all those in the Grand 16 come in there, and they come up with their dog in hand and in front of everybody, and we have cast numbers out there. They draw themselves, come up to your table out there at the center of the floor and pick a number, and that's going to be their cast number, and it's pretty cool. We have 4 different places, for cast 1, 2, 3, and 4. And just for everybody to see the dogs and all this and that. So that is a cool part of the Grand 16, I think.
It's a great way to recognize those dogs, for sure.
It is. And got some big names in there. I say big names, probably none bigger than Snooky's Cookie, the world champion's in there. It's pretty cool when she can come in there and people can see, see the world champion.
Yeah. You mentioned we had a world champion, a national grand night champion, a dual grand night, or dual champion. National dual champion,
National dual champion, yeah.
And a whole list of dogs have done very well in the events this last several years.
Yep.
So. Yep. But putting a bow on the total numbers here, total number of entries over the weekend was 650 dogs, with a total of 552 dogs going to the woods. So I think that's a really good hunt for a weekend there, especially considering the heat and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just if you took the whole week into consideration, counting Tuesday's warm-up slam, Wednesday's warm-up slam, plus the Pro Slam and Cross Plains, Thursday's warm-up slam, the National Dual Championship, both rounds of Autumn Oaks, the Grand 16 and the 16-dog Pro Slam on Saturday night, you end up with 1,052 dogs that went to the woods and hunted. Not total entries, but those are the dogs that actually went to the woods and hunted, so pretty darn good.
Yep.
Grand 16, like you talked about, was comprised of 3 black and tans, 2 blue ticks, 2 English, and 9 tree and walkers. And the cutoff to get into the Grand 16 was actually pretty good this year, 650 plus.
Yeah, it was. Saturday, well, that was Friday night when it was still pretty warm. Saturday, then it did cool off quite a bit, and temperatures were quite different on Saturday night. But one thing that that caught my eye was, we don't disclose the scores, but 875 was the high for Grands on Friday night. 875 was the high for night champions, and 875 was the high for registered.
Yeah,
those were the top scores in all 3 categories all weekend.
I'm always tickled when there aren't a bunch of 4-digit scores in there. I know it's plausible and it does happen, but
sure,
kind of makes you feel good when it doesn't. So.
Yeah, it just kind of eliminates people having thoughts about it, or bad thoughts about it, or questions that, and even 10th place. I know the guy that got 10th place, Brad Hall, there in the registered. I think what was that, 350 or something like that? 350 and registered, and he was like, wow, he didn't think he'd have enough to get in, but 350 got in and registered.
Yeah. Yeah, you talk about all 16 dogs in the Grand 16 were between 650 plus and 875 plus. So 3 to 4 coons got you in there if you stayed clean. And that was out of 64 different Grands that won their cast. So that's a pretty competitive group there.
Yeah, and as far as numbers go, we've never had a larger category of Grands than we did this year.
I had the pleasure of going out on the final cast again this year, obviously of the Grand 16. And was able to wrangle up a couple of good judges from up there in Michigan. Mike Ream and Trey Clifford, a couple of good ones here who ran the hunt really smoothly. Our guides were a couple of the local Wayne County club members, our officers, Tyler Stroh and Chet McCreary. I think they might be president and vice president or correspondent officer. Or they're both officials of the club there. And we went to a nice spot. It was still a little muggy out, real dark. Wasn't much wind flow at all, a little bit, I guess. But when we got down in the woods and the cornfields, there wasn't much to be said there, but it ended up Final Four was Grand Night Champion 3, the Dixie Chick, Trian Walker, owned by Ashley Dalton of West Virginia and handled by Philip King. He ended up with withdrawing towards the end of the cast. We had Dual Grand Patrick's Black River Tex, a black and tan male owned and handled by Ed Hillenbrand of Ohio, who took some strike minus for coming into the cast at one point and had a shot to win the thing there at the end on a tree that we just couldn't find a coon in. Had a big hole in it. Grand Night Champion Stylish Strikeout, Trian Walker, owned by Nicole Caudle and Brian Williams of Kentucky and handled by Joe Caudle. Had two nice trees right on the edge of cornfields that we couldn't find anything in, just couldn't catch a break that night. And the overall winner and our national Grand Night Champion this year was Grand Night Champion. She's a bit shady. It's a Trian Walker, they actually call her Tia, owned by Derek Mills and Dennis Goodman of Ohio and handled by Cody Sipe, 150 plus. Kind of and man, I actually went through before we came here. I went through and read the play-by-play. Obviously, I was texting you the play-by-play, and what an exciting hunt it was.
Oh man, I was going to say that 90-minute hunt. The Grand 16 in the early round is 90 minutes, and same with the late round is another 90 minutes. And it was fast paced. It was exciting, and it seemed like just in no time. I remember at the hour point, I'm thinking, "Holy cow! Here's an hour already now," and it's 30 minutes left, and it got to about that hour point. It was I can't imagine the stress level of about 3 because everybody's still got a shot at this point at the hour level. And you mentioned the play-by-play. It's on the Coonhound forum, on the message forums is where I posted it. So I encourage folks to go check it out and read that, because even all the way down towards the end there, you mentioned the black dog took a little bit of minus, but there at one point he got treed and he had the chance to take the lead right there, right down towards the end. And that ended up getting circled as well. But then the eventual winner, Cody Sipe's dog, Shady calls her Tia. She made that good tree, and if he's got a coon, she's going to take the lead there. But also, and time ran out there. But before time ran out, Out also got treed again, and Out can win with a coon there. So it got very, very exciting down there towards the end. But nevertheless, man, and that last half hour just flew by. Seemed like, and I can't imagine being Joe Caudle out there and Cody Sipe under had to be a lot of pressure and this and that. But hey, after the awards and everything on Sunday morning there, I had a chance to sit down with Dennis Goodman, one of the owners, and Cody Sipe, the handler. And let's take a listen to that interview right now. I asked Cody to kind of talk about his weekend and this and that all the way from Friday and Saturday's hunt. So take a listen here.
Well, good morning, fellas.
Morning.
Did you get any sleep, Cody?
No.
How about you, Dennis?
No.
None?
None.
Cody, yesterday I talked to you after Friday night's hunt, or yesterday morning, I guess, and you came in for the handlers meeting. You said, man, this is way too early. That was, at 11 o'clock? You hadn't hardly slept then?
No, we got in late
from
So,
Friday's cast.
Did you even go back to sleep or anything?
Yeah. Oh,
Did you?
yeah. We took a little bit of a nap.
Oh, you had a little-
45 minutes.
Yeah, you had time till about 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hey, the reason you're here, you're the big winner this weekend, Autumn Oaks National Grand Night Champion. She's a bit shady. You call her Tia, right?
Tia, yeah.
Where does that name come from?
Well, that came with the dog, I guess. I don't know who named her eventually, but they just always
So that
told me
was
that
her
her name was Tia.
call name
Her
was
call
Tia?
name was Tia.
Huh.
I'm not sure how the original name
Yeah.
came about, though.
Yeah. Well, I have Dennis here, too. Dennis Goodman, you're the co-owner along with Derek Mills. You guys are from Amelia, Ohio. Where's Amelia at?
I'm from Sunbury, Ohio.
Okay, but Derek
Derek
is. Where's that at?
I have no idea.
South, I believe.
South of here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. So, Dennis, how'd you come about this? I see you bought the dog from Roger Miller down here, not far from Richmond here.
Well, Derek already owned her by the time I got involved. I seen a few scorecards online and was impressed. Tried to buy all of her. He wouldn't sell her. I tried and he wouldn't do it. Eventually he said, "Hey, we can go partners," and here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see, so how'd you hook up with Cody to handle the dog? How'd that happen?
Man,
He needed a good dog probably to hunt. Right?
I did, yeah.
he's been handling for me for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so have you bought the dog this last spring, you said? Is that right? Or you got involved this last spring, is that it? Or?
About maybe 2 months ago.
Oh, just 2 months ago,
Mhm.
okay. And that's about all you've had her too, Cody.
Yes,
You've
yeah.
had her up there hunting her
Yeah,
since then.
once that went through, Derek rushed her up to our place, and
Yeah.
she's been at my place for the last couple months here.
Yeah, so she is a 2019 model, just off of Goose Creek Woody. What does Woody go back to? Do you know?
If you remember the Frank Johnson and
Yeah,
the
I
slugger,
wondered if
the
it-
slugger
yeah,
dogs
that
and
line
stuff.
of dogs,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever hunt with those dogs?
Oh,
much?
back in the day, and
See any similarities
arena
here?
races.
Yeah.
She's probably not as big a hunter as Slugger was. He was, if I recall him right, he was a pretty big hunting dog.
He kind of was, yeah.
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 She'll treat him as she comes to him.
Yeah, and then McVeigh's awesome, ain't he? There, but so what do you like about the dog here? You've won some other big stuff already here in the last couple of months with her.
Yeah, yeah. She's
What was it, Pro Sport or something?
yeah, Pro
like
Sport.
That?
I got her in 2 nights there, and at a 2500 Pro Classic, and then
The Bandit hunt.
the Bandit.
Oh
hunt
yeah, the one up at Reading.
Reading.
Yeah, yeah.
We got in the finals
That was
up
just
there.
a couple of weeks ago.
She kind of pulled a slugger there and got out of hearing.
Oh, yeah.
But she set treat over an hour. We're out of hearing. So
That was in that 27 dog hunt where
Yeah.
you made the semifinals.
great hunt,
Yeah.
great format.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit. So you bring her here to Autumn Oaks. You hunt Friday night. When's the last time you hunted at Autumn Oaks? Been a while.
It's
hasn't
been
it?
it's been a few years. I don't
What was
generally like to come to these kind of type of events unless I got something I think I can really compete with.
Yeah. So let's talk about Friday night. All the grands hunt on Friday night.
Mhm.
Talk about your hunt a little bit Friday.
Pretty good hunt. We drove a little bit up north to hunt up around Peru, Indiana.
Ooh, that is a little ways.
Yeah.
from
Mhm. But it was well worth the drive. You won't hear me complain as long as we get put in good coon hunting how far we got to go. But no complaints on that end. We turned it loose on the first drop, and actually it started to drizzle the rain. Now, I've heard a lot of guys say they hunted in some really torrential downpours, but we never had that.
You didn't
Where we
over
was-
there?
No, it was just a nice, good coon hunting rain, The coons were moving pretty good, and
It wasn't that far north of here. It
Yeah.
looked pretty bad.
yeah, and like I said, we turned loose, and I treed a coon. I would think I was the first dog. Yeah, I was the first dog treed, and Matt Bebout was our guide, and he was hunting a dog, and he had mentioned that he would like to move and patch hunt a little bit if we could.
Yeah.
And that's kind of tough with the no leash lock, but we was able to make it work. I was able to get her treed in, and went in, had a coon, and got her recut because all of the dogs weren't treed. And we went to score another dog, and by the time we got there, she was already set treed again.
and the other 2 dogs had treed in. So when we pulled that dog off, he elected to just keep on the lead so we could move, and we scored the other 2 dogs and that dog, and no coons were seen on their trees. And then got to her, and she had another coon. So in the first 37 minutes of the hunt, I was sitting pretty good on 2 coons, and they haven't scored one yet. And then
that's always a good feeling.
That's a good feeling. Yeah, it don't happen often, but when it does, it feels good. And we moved places, and the second place, she got in there and got treed, and we didn't find that coon. It ran into a big den, but I was able to pull her off and recast her and got treed pretty quick with another coon. And 2 of the dogs kind of came close to us in the cast, and they got their hands on them, and they withdrew at that point. And the next drop we went to, she treed one more coon there.
So she had 3 on the card for the night.
4 coons.
Oh, 4 coons on the card.
And 1 circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked really good. I can't.
Yeah. So it was actually kind of a breeze on Friday night. Sounds like for the most part.
You've never a breeze.
Well, you've had a lot tougher than that.
Yes, I've had.
I'd say it was a lot tougher last night. We'll get to that here in a minute. But so that puts you in the Grand 16. You know, we don't disclose the scores, but our high score was 875. Ironically, for all 3 categories, it was a high score.
Oh wow!
875 Grands and 875 Register and 875 Night Champion.
Okay.
So yeah, that puts you in the Grand 16 here. And have you been up here since we did the format the way we have the?
I actually won it with Phil and Frisky the very first year they did you
first one.
Yep, the very first one, and then the
that's
second.
Right. I thought you had him.
The second year, I took 3rd to Brian Whitted and Clean.
Oh yeah,
I got in the finals the very next year, and then I don't know that I've been back since.
Yeah. So yeah, get in the Grand 16. So you hunt early. Now we're hunting a little bit, just an hour and a half now, and that's on Saturday night.
That's a good move in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just.
So
an
how
hour.
did your cast go last night in the semifinals, early round?
It was a great cast, and again, all 3 of my casts this weekend were great guys to hunt with, and no issues, and just a smooth bunch of guys to hunt with. But last night's cast, we turned loose and. She did some stuff a little out of the ordinary, but she made it work somehow. But I got struck for second, and she ran a track, and she's not really a dog that likes to bark every breath on the ground. She'll move a track, and open up here and there. But this time she ran it right out to a bean field and kind of got fumbled up there for 20 minutes probably, and worked it out finally out of the beans and come treed. Before that, 2 of the dogs got treed, and they both had coons, and we cut them loose. And actually, I think they got treed again, and didn't have anything on their next tree. But then when I got her treed in, we went to her, and she had a coon that put me up to 200 plus. Pull her off of that, cut her loose, and she just goes about 70, 80 yards and trees another one. And we had another dog to go score before her. Actually, all those dogs we had to score before her. And by the time we got back to her, she had another coon. There was still time left to hunt. And, but nothing really came on after that.
Yeah.
The cast was pretty much done.
It has been so hot this whole week too.
It was brutal. Yeah.
Does she
pretty
takes the heat pretty good?
Yeah, I hunt 5, 6, 7 nights a week.
Yeah,
and she takes the heat well.
But then last night it cooled off.
Last
a little
night
bit
was nice. That rain all day
nice.
yesterday was definitely helped around here.
Did you go on all the casts with him too, Dennis? Did you?
Yeah, I'm the truck guy.
Yeah,
my wheel man.
Yeah, there you go. Gotta have that.
You do.
Gotta have that. So there, that you win your cast there. Now you're in the final.
The final. Yep.
You still get any butterflies or anything?
I don't, Alan. I haven't had him for some time.
How long have you been doing this?
Oh,
long
gosh.
time.
Since I remember Jerry and Mike
he used
McAvoy,
to hunt those high-powered blue ticks back in the day.
Those guys packed me around when I was 12, 13 years old, running a Purina race back when I was 12 or 13 years old.
Yeah.
So be 45 this year.
Yeah. I got a little bit on you, but
yeah.
It's not as
I remember
easy.
drawing you out years ago when I was a young buck. You beating on me with the red dogs. But,
I remember one hunt specifically, you know, where we had, I don't think you were, maybe it was me and another guy that were kind of in it, where we had, I needed a coon on him because he and I were really close or whatever. Remember when we treed that? Mine was the only one that treed, and when I needed it, and there was a dead carcass or something laying at the base. Remember that?
Yeah.
And that's how
vividly. Yeah.
I don't know how you remember stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's one of them. But yeah. Oh, but it's not. This ain't about me. So Saturday night. So now you're in the finals, and I encourage folks to go watch the play-by-play. It's posted on the UKC Coon forums. Trevor was out there with you guys, and I think Clayton Starks also. He's going to have something for folks to check out, and that'll be good. Go to Stark Outdoors and check that out. But so we did the play-by-play, and just sitting back there. Okay, that hunt went by so fast.
It did. It really did.
To me, it did.
Me too.
Trevor did a pretty good job of feeding me with information, but it was kind of it wasn't fast, but it was. There's always something going on. Seemed like the whole hunt, 90 minutes again.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the hunt.
Honestly, I thought it was even going to be faster pace. The way the dog struck right off the rip there, and mine wasn't saying anything, and I was like, uh-oh. And it kind of just petered out, so to speak, out in the cornfield a little bit. And finally a dog got treed, and she kind of moved out away from that dog. And we had some dogs kind of come into the cast. I don't know what not happened there, but finally mine did get treed, and I treated her. And what a beautiful place when I walked out of the woods into the.
Was she out quite a ways from that when she?
She was a pretty good piece, but nothing nothing crazy. I think it was from where I treated, it was like 400 yards.
Okay,
maybe. But when we had to cross that little creek or river, whatever that was, we popped out into this nice cornfield, and she's treed on a fencer on the other side of it. So I was like, wow, here we go.
Yeah,
we have this one, and we're in there.
Something you can step back and
we
shine.
get in there, and it's a great big old tree, and we just could not find it. And like you said about the time going by, I looked at my clock, and I was like, I can't spend no more time here. I got to get off the chain.
It didn't seem like it was long, and that hour was up. And now when that hour is up, you're not a half hour.
Yeah, this is my buddy Rick always told me it's a timed event, so don't waste your time out there. Use it wisely. So,
are you watching the play-by-play, Dennis, as you're sitting at the truck? Or,
yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
So you wore out a pair of shoes, probably.
My pace.
But
talked to Derek the whole time.
Did you?
But so I didn't really want to waste a lot of time there. Not saying it wasn't there at all. Just I wasn't having no luck, and I knew I had to get her back loose.
Yeah,
she was in such a good spot not to have coons around her anyway, and so I was able to get her turned back loose, and she finally got treed again, and I got her treed in probably, I'm going to tell you, probably 12 minutes left in the hunt.
That was it.
Yeah.
You'd scored a couple other trees.
Yeah, we scored a couple other trees. Yeah. The coons just weren't looking or not there. I don't know.
No, that's late. We're talking late. You didn't go out till after.
Oh, it was.
I think it was 2:40 when you cut loose or something like that.
Late. Yeah. And
so you're talking about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
now.
Correct. And no, the coons just weren't cooperating.
Yeah.
And like you said, we scored a couple other trees. And
well, I think the report was that I got in when you took her off that. Well, okay, go ahead and finish the story. We haven't got to the one where.
Yeah, we scored the black and tan. It was a circle tree, and at that point there, I'm drawing a blank what the dog's name was that had a chance there at the end.
Out.
Yes, the out dog was treed.
Yeah.
I treed before him, back down close towards that fence row, and the out dog treed after me. And the black dog, I think he had like 7 or 8 minutes left, and he recasted. Anybody's game is just to have a coon, at this point. And so I don't blame the guy for turning loose at all. But
Because if he would have had a coon, he would have taken the lead at that point.
Correct.
And, not by much, but he would have.
We get to go score me off of that. And shortly after we started shining my tree, I think the hunt expired.
Yeah.
And and I don't know. I mean, I always feel good about when I walk into a dog and they're on a leaner going into a big tree. It just, I normally find them. And that's what she was on. And I found the coon fairly early in the shine time with my thermal, and I could not place the coon with my light, and that's difficult sometimes. Gosh, and it's aggravating. At times
you gotta have this one.
I got to.
You're not leading at this point.
No ifs, ands, or buts. I gotta have it. And with a minute left in the shine time, I did the whole thing that nobody likes to do, is turn the bright light on this time of year. And luck would have it, they find it out there in the edge of the corn with the bright light. And Mike Ream was our judge last night, and I'm hollering at him with like he's one of my children. I'm run. He took off running over there, and Trevor and them actually was out there. They seen the whole coon.
Yeah.
And then Mike went out there and he found it. He laid eyes on it with 25 seconds left in the shine time.
Yeah. Just for our listeners, you can only score a coon during that 5 minutes of shining time. If the judge doesn't see it in that time, it doesn't matter who else saw it.
But
cutting it close for sure.
Cutting it close. You ain't kidding. And I was pretty pumped up and feeling pretty good about my chances.
So now you got a coon.
But we have a coon there.
And you've got the lead at this point.
And I got the lead. That's the only coon we've scored. But if Out has a coon,
hunt time's over now.
Yeah, the hunt time's over. But if Out has a coon, she will be your winner because of a circle strike on her tree there on the first one.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I don't. I mean, just the way the hunt went, I was feeling pretty good. Not that she didn't have a coon. Just weren't cooperating as far as looking. They were in good hiding spots or something.
Yeah. Well, I remember the last report that Trevor gave me. He said when they started shining, he said, Cody tells me he's prepared for the longest 8 minutes of his life.
I told him that. Yeah, I did. I did say that. Yep. And that is a long time.
It is a long time.
Yes, yes, it is. And
they probably used most of it, I would assume.
In fact, Mike let him know there was, I don't know, 3.5 or 3 minutes. Yeah, I think he said 3.5 minutes left to shine. And I said, I think he said he was satisfied, Mike. And he says, no, I'm not satisfied. But I had to rib him a little bit.
Yeah.
So
after you don't find it, for a couple of minutes, 3-4 minutes,
we shined. I mean, we all shined hard there for a good 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and used the thermals and stuff, and we weren't picking heat up and stuff.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, hey, it came down to the wire like that, and
that's
at the
fun.
end with 3 dogs, still having an opportunity there, and then when the black dog didn't, he had a circle tree there that kind of took him out of it right there. But then, it was exciting. And then that last, I talked about the first hour. It seemed like, wow, okay, here we're at an hour already. Then that last half hour was, I want to say twice as fast, and I guess it was twice as fast.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't take much time, but hey guys, good weekend obviously, and I know, like I said, she's already kind of made a name for herself here recently, and now comes here to Autumn Oaks and wins the whole shebang. So, anything else you want to add, Dennis?
No.
Got a good dog here, looks like.
She's a good one.
What do you got? Any plans for her here in the near future? Or what?
She's never been to a qualifier, so last weekend we took her to Medina and got her qualified on the last weekend. So I hope she's got a run in her here in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
I'm hoping
have her at the Zones World Championship. Yep. There you go. All right. Well, hey guys, congratulations on a good weekend and on your national championship win here. And appreciate you guys coming to the hunt, and hope you had a good time. I'm sure you did.
Absolutely,
it's a great event. This is one of my favorite hunts, honestly.
All right, guys, congratulations again, and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there's Cody there. And hey, one good thing I do want to mention, Clayton Stark was out there with us on that final cast, and we all know how he's done on taping final cast for us in the past and putting out some good recap videos, and I'm really, really looking forward to that one. Don't want to give it away too much. Go check out the play-by-play or check out the video about how that cast into there. But man, it was a heck of a cast, and congratulations to Derek, Dennis, and Cody on being the National Grand Night champion of the 2024 Autumn Oaks.
Yeah, I got a little chuckle. I asked Cody, and you mentioned it in the play-by-play that Cody told you, shining Out's tree, that's his 8 minutes of shining time or whatever, and he was prepared for the longest 8 minutes of his life, and he got a chuckle out of that too.
Yeah.
He said, "Man, that was a long 8 minutes."
Guarantee it.
But yeah, hey, so the Grand Night champion, she's a bit shady. That's a treeing walker female, has a December of 2019 birth date. This dog I didn't realize, what her pedigree looked like till, I asked Cody a little bit, but she is sired by a dog named Goose Creek Woody. That's a Grand Night champion, but goes back to those Goose Creek dogs that Donnie Huber and Frank Johnson had back in the day. Goose Creek Slugger 3 is the granddaddy, who is off of Slugger Jr., and then probably the one that Old Slugger is the one that he was like a 2-time Purina champion back in the day, 25 years ago. And so top side here, she's bred to the hilt, and not just that, the bottom side too. Her mother is a dog named Night Champion McVeigh's Awesome Annie, who is off of Annie's sire is a dog named High Expectations. So Expectations is off of 2 world champions. That's X Junior, X Junior, and who is off of Naylor, and then Insane Jane, the youngest world champion in UKC history.
Yeah.
So the bottom side, is this dog's bred to the hilt, so
No
bred to be a winner. And it's kind of cool to see dogs like this come through big time, like a lot of the dogs have in her pedigree.
Absolutely.
So a dog was bred by Elgin McVeigh and was at one time owned by Roger Miller, one of my friends that lives down there just outside of Liberty or what have you. But yeah, they say she's a nice one, and Cody just recently, as he mentioned, he talked about that there in the interview, as you heard. He's just been handling her in the last couple months now, but he really loves this dog.
And boy, he got a heck of a package. I think he got a brand new Owens dog box. He got a telemetry system from Dogtra. Got a new Bright Eyes Light and 3 bags of Eukanuba dog food. So not bad, in addition to his Grand 16 prize. And for the other 6 breed National Grand Night champions of breed, they each got a Dogtra Pathfinder and 3 bags of Eukanuba dog food. The Black and Tan winner was, of course, there in the final cast, Dual Grand Patrick's Black River Tex, owned by Ed Hillenbrand.
The oldest handler in the Grand 16, 74 years old Ed is.
Still
70. Good for him, man.
Yeah. Three casts and 2 nights. Pretty darn good.
And a good guy too.
Leopard winner was Grand Night Champion 2, Ralph's Crispy Fried Bacon. That's owner is Hunter Sneed of Kentucky. Blue Tick National Grand Night Champion of breed was Grand Night Champion 2, Rock Creek Racket. A Blue Tick owned by Terry Tappy of Indiana, handled by Terry. Made it to the Grand 16.
Yep, she was in there.
English winner was Grand Night Champion Indian Creek Loudmouth Hook, owned by Michael Mitchell and Lee Wade of Indiana, handled by Lee.
Also in the Grand 16.
Plot winner, Grand Night Champion Savage Redwood Hokies Hatchet, owned by Zachary Savage of Maryland and handled by Jacob Coons. Redbone winner, Grand Night Champion Kaufman's Worth the Wait, Redbone owned by Mike Young of Tennessee. So that's that kind of, obviously Tia was our Walker winner and our overall winner. So great list of 7 National Grand Night champions there. Got to take a nice good picture of all 7 of them in front of the stage there at the beginning of award ceremonies on Sunday morning. So congratulations to those 7 on their weekend. Great accomplishment. Head on to night champions now, and we won't spend as much time here. 29 cast winners over the 2 nights. 5th place, and the cutoff to get a placement in night champions was 600 plus, and that was win by night champion Priest's Backwater Jill, Tree and Walker owned by Kenny Priest of Kentucky.
Yep, 4th place was also a night champion 4-time 007 Tristan Short. That was a Tree and Walker owned by Logan Williams of Missouri, 725.
3rd place, night champion Indian Ridge Flint, an English owned by David Hausler of Kentucky, also was 725 plus.
Yeah, and the runner-up was Wicked Ridge's New Hooker, a Tree and Walker owned by Trent Barker. We talked about him. I think he was in the Final Four, one of the warm-up slams. Young young man from Kentucky, along with John Wages are the owners. They're $775 plus.
And each of those folks got a $150 gift certificate to GTs and a light, whether it was from K-Light or Bright Eyes Light. So they each got a new light, at least for placing. First place here got an Owens Dog Box and a $150 GT's gift certificate, and that was Nite Champion Ice Cold Dirty Batman. Tree and Walker, owned by Chad Mans of West Virginia, $875 plus. Chad's got him another one.
There you go. Congratulations to all the Nite Champion winners.
Registered, we had 32 cast winners over the 2 nights. Obviously, we've talked about the entry numbers already there. 10th place. Man, do I have to read 10th place?
Yep, I did once. It's your turn.
10th place is Hall's Fatal Farter Fred. All PHs, so you know it's a Frogger dog. And that's a Tree and Walker owned by Bradley and Albert Hall of Indiana. 350 plus. Took 350 to get into the top 10 registered. Not bad at all.
Yeah, I ribbed Bradley a little bit about that name. 9th place, Seven Oaks Hard Time Stella 2, an English owned by Burl Shoulders out of Illinois. 350 plus for 9th.
8th place, Champion Hardwood Crew. Tree and Walker owned by Dustin Darr and Blake Wyant of Ohio with 400 plus.
7th place was Chad Mans out of West Virginia, again with Ice Cold Dirty Deeds 2. That's a Tree and Walker, had 4.25.
6th place was PR Out of Your League, a Tree and Walker owned by Ashley Dalton of West Virginia with 475 plus.
Yeah, they had a little birthday celebration for Ashley Dalton there at Autumn Oaks this year.
That's right.
5th place, Roberts Creek Rocky, a Tree and Walker owned by Terry Roberts and Alex Roberts of Kentucky, 500 plus, 5th place.
4th place was Bo the Show, an English owned by Justin Harper of Kentucky with 550 plus.
And 3rd was Set 'em Up Peppy, a Tree and Walker, Matt Bebout and Jacob Roller of Indiana, 575 plus, 3rd place.
2nd place was Midnight Froggo, a Tree and Walker owned by Tim Smith of Kentucky, 700 plus.
Yeah, hey, before I go further, I think I'm pretty sure here it was the one of the English. I think it was Bo the Show. I think
that's right.
Is actually a offspring of the Nite Champion winner. Where's that Nite Champion? Let me see. The Indian Ridge Flint.
Yep.
Is the sire to this dog. So that was pretty cool to have a Nite Champion, one of the Nite Champion winners, and then an offspring and placed in registered. That was pretty cool. And our overall winner this year, again with 875 plus, as we talked about, Full Throttle Ranger, a Tree and Walker owned by Buck Sawyer out of Virginia, 875 plus. And I think these winners all got the same thing as the Nite Champions did. The 2nd through 10th all got the same thing, a light trophy and a gift certificate, maybe $100 gift certificate in this case for the registered, and then a dog box and light. I guess I'm not looking at the list.
Yeah, it's they got an Owens Dog Box and a $100 gift certificate for first place as well. So, and they actually all 15 of those Nite Champion and registered placements got 2 bags of Eukanuba dog food each.
Yep,
forgot to mention that.
Yep, and the National Gray Night Champions of Breed, they all got 3.
And kind of the last event to talk about results for the weekend was our big Autumn Oaks Pro Slam $1,000 entry. Pretty darn good. A great group of dogs. I want to give a thank you to obviously they had hunting judges and guides early, but Rick Hittle guided for us late on that late round. And the non-hunting judges late were Zach Walker and Trent Barker. So I appreciate them sticking around. It was early in the morning when we sent these dogs out. And they were 2 of the last people in the building when I locked it up early on Sunday morning. So appreciate them going out for me. 4th.
Yeah, that was that was a pretty cool little thing to have a little side hunt there on Saturday night, and I think those guys were pretty excited about it, and pretty good payout. 4th place was going to $1,500 for 4th, $2,250 for 3rd, $3,750 for 2nd, and $7,500 for 1st.
Yeah. And our 4th place winner getting $1,500 was Grand Night Champion Eblin's Frog. It's a Tree and Walker owned by Adam Eblin of Ohio and handled by Tyler Showalter.
Yeah, you mentioned the Frogger dog. Davis's Rosedale Frogger, one of the hottest stud dogs out there right now. That's what this dog is off of. And the bottom side is a female named Stylish Little Lady. That goes back to Stylish Clover. So that's pedigree in that dog.
3rd place, winning $2,250 was Grand Night Champion Insane Venus, well-known female there. Tree and Walker, now owned by Zach Reeves, and he's in Nebraska, City, Nebraska, and handled by Steve Yant.
Yeah, she is a December of 2017 model. Has done a lot of winning. Insane Venus, and she is bred to the hilt as well. Her sire is Insane Frosted Mug who goes back to Insane X. And Insane X would be a litter mate to the High Expectations dog we talked about earlier here. Is off of 2 world champions, X Junior and Insane Jane, one of those crosses. And then the bottom side is Nailer bred as well. It goes back to Nocturnal Skipper on the bottom side, like greater, maybe even 3 generations back, Nocturnal Skippers. That dog she is bred well.
Second place, winning $3,750 was Nite champion Schooner River Gunner. Got another good payday. That's a tree and walker owned by Alan Holding, Jason and Jace Cooper of Indiana, and handled by Jason Smith.
Yeah, he was one of the in the Final Fours of one of the warm-up slams earlier in the week. But Jason's handled this dog. I think at Walker Days, maybe he was in the pros. Might have won the pro slam at Walker Days earlier this year. But this dog is off another popular stud dog, Wilson Schooner River. Fred Bear is the sire here, and Psycho Sue is his mother. But yeah, they've done very well with this guy.
And our first place winner in the Autumn Oaks Pro Slam, getting $7,500, was Nite champion Mojo's Catman Dude. And this, I think the early round win here actually made this dog a Grand Nite champion. But Catman Dude is a tree and walker owned by Scott Engel and Randy Morgan of Ohio, and handled by Alan Carlson.
Yeah, they heard a little bit of talk about this one, that this is maybe, if things work out, this might be Scott's next stud dog, maybe. But you look at his pedigree, he's off a world champion Electric Rodeo, who's off of Mojo Mason, who goes back to the original Mojo dog. And then the bottom side is Muscle Man's Nelly. That dog is she was a good bitch in her day, and off of Lone Pine Muscleman. But yeah, very well bred dog right here, bred by Greg Maynard, actually. Mojo's Catman Dude. He's our first Autumn Oaks Pro Slam winner. So, yeah.
So that's Autumn Oaks right there, but we do need to get out some thank yous, and we have quite a few people to thank you here. I know we've been going for a while here, but we're going to get them out here because it's important. And first of all, I want to thank all the attendees to the event this year. Got the hunt, whether you came to hunt or show, camp or shop or just walking through. I appreciate you being there. Can't have Autumn Oaks without the crowd there, so thank you all for coming.
Yeah, that's right, man. And what a crowd it was. It's just, we'll go through a list, and I know you listed a bunch on your yesterday, I think it was, or Sunday, whenever you made that post. But there's a lot of folks behind the scenes, that don't get the credit they deserve as well, But hey, we appreciate everybody.
Yeah. I want to thank our host clubs for the weekends, whether it's the grounds there or the satellite clubs. Wayne County Coon Hunters Association, they're out of Milton, but they go right off the grounds there for the weekend.
Yep, Limberlost Coon Hunters in Bryant. They've been with us being a satellite club for Autumn Oaks here for a lot of years, and we appreciate them. They always come through for us. Sure appreciate them.
Van Wert County Coon Hunters Association up in Convoy, Ohio, up there in coon country. Always can expect some good scores to come out of there.
Yeah, Shelbyville has been a staple for Autumn Oaks for a lot of years, and this last year they lost their facility and everything, and we had the Bear Creek Coon Hunters and Conservation Club in Versailles step up and help us out, and we certainly appreciate that.
Thank our warm-up slam host clubs, Tuesday night, Hannah's Creek Conservation Club in Liberty, Indiana.
Yep, and then 2 nights, Wednesday and Thursday, at Delaware County Coon Hunters in Selma, Derek Compton, and Randall Winchester and their whole crew. They sure appreciate all their hard work.
And it's not just the host clubs. Obviously, we want to give a big thank you to all the landowners out there who can put that many dogs, 1,000 dogs in the woods in a week. Thank you to the DNR in Indiana and Ohio for giving us our permits and not giving us too hard of a time out there. And allowing such a large group of people to gather in one spot and get to go hunt with each other. So I appreciate all of those folks.
Yep, and you mentioned the non-hunting guides at those satellite clubs, and that also goes for those hunting guides that we used all weekend. That had places to take their casts. We appreciate all of them.
Yeah. Also, I think the judges, whether they were hunting judges or non-hunting judges, I appreciate everybody who got handed the scorecard and accepted their assignment of judging. And I hope, obviously I know some people don't want to, but I hope whenever you get that card, you can have a sense of pride that either Alan or me or one of the field reps, had faith in you to get you to judge the gas. That's not a random draw or anything. Most of the time we know somebody and we vouch for them when we put the judge stamp on their name.
Hey, I will say this: it ran as smooth, and we talk about this a lot of events, that they run pretty smooth. I asked you a little while ago. I hadn't even heard of any questions other than that one. I guess there was a couple.
Yeah.
There probably wasn't a handful of questions throughout the week, actually. But that speaks volumes, really. And I'm telling you, it has a whole lot to do with the judges. So thanks to everybody that judged a cast. And it doesn't mean sometimes they have to make tough calls, and make a call even if you're not sure sometimes. But man, we appreciate them.
Yeah.
Thank you. It seemed like everybody did a good job, and you just and we appreciate it so much.
Yeah. We'll talk about the Grand 16 non-hunting guides and judges that night. Judging for us, Jared Lehman, Trent Barker, Kyle Oakes, and Trey Clifford. Mike Ream twice. He judged early and late. So thank all 5 of those guys.
Yep, and the guides that were non-hunting guides on Saturday night: Chet McCreary, Tyler Stroh, Rick Hittle, Keith Hall, Terry Smith, Ron Hoffman. Need those guides as well.
Yeah,
and some of those guys were guiding quite a bit all week long too.
Absolutely, they were. And just real quick, we mentioned them already. The Pro Slam judges, Zach Walker and Trent Barker, went out in that late round and judged that late round Pro Slam cast for us. So thank you guys for that.
Yep, and hey, we at the hunting supply vendors, we had a good number of those on the grounds. I want to thank all of them, every one of them that came out there and set up at Autumn Oaks. Thank you.
Yeah, food vendors, had a good number of food vendors there. I got me some ice cream. My daughter got some pizza. She liked it, so we got to try a couple of them, not all of them, but there was a lot of happy people there with the food vendors. So thank y'all for being there.
Yep. Content creator Steve Fielder, Gone to the Dogs. He's been there the last several years, and I think he got a lot of good content. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of the stuff he got.
Ben Sheets, Tree Talking Media. I saw a couple of his pictures that he went on a few different casts and got some different podcasts. So really looking forward to seeing what he's got.
Yep, Josh Michaelis was there with Kane Street Media, and he does a lot for the sport as far as promotion of the sport. Not just he does a lot of the other formats, other registries and stuff like that, but has been at Autumn Oaks the last several years and does a great job.
Jason Doobie, he obviously he's revamped the Full Cry, made it into an awesome publication, and he's a big part of the W Podcast Network, and hopefully he got himself some good content while he was there. If nothing else, he got to shake some hands and see some people, and I enjoyed talking to him.
Yep. Hey, Kyle Oakes was out there with Coon Hunting Media Podcast. He was out in the open pavilion building, and the reason was because he was selling some other merchandise from some of his sponsors there, and why he wasn't in the main building there with the other media guys. But Kyle Oakes, Johnny Cooper, and the Thompsons, great job they're doing, and good guys there too. I went out and spoke with them out there at one of the boys out there at their booth. They had a nice little setup there, and Kyle, man, he's a young guy. He wants to help, and he does a great job. He helped us all week.
Yeah. Jason Hunter's Wheelhouse. He was not in our main building, but I was seeing videos he was posting of interviews all over the fairgrounds all weekend. So he was keeping everybody entertained with his content over the week.
Yeah, and then Clayton Stark with Stark Outdoors does a lot of things on YouTube, and you're going to see some of that, or you're going to be able to see some of his content that he got at Autumn Oaks this year, including some footage of the final cast. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Clayton does an awesome job.
Yeah, so let's talk about our judges real quick. I'll do the confirmation show judges here. Felicity Trammell, and then Laura Luce. She was kind of a late replacement for one of the confirmation judges. I appreciate both of them being there on Thursday and getting to go through a pretty dang good group of coonhounds.
Yep, and then Penny Turner and Christina Officers, two staples in the show world, that have done a lot of winning over the years, and it just worked out that we could use them this year. They've not been maybe as active showing here just recently or whatever. It just seemed like the right year to use both of them, and they were really looking forward to it. I think they enjoyed themselves, did a great job, and hey, like we talked about, the only people at the end of the day. I think they only need to make themselves happy with their picks, and I think they really enjoyed their time in the ring judging those dogs.
Field reps there for the weekend and officials throughout the weekend. Doug Cundiff, he Master of Hounds for the National Dual Championship hunt on Thursday. He was the Master of Hounds for the Pro Slam on Saturday night, and obviously over the big hunts on Friday and Saturday night there right off the ground. So Doug had his hands full, but did a great job as always.
Hey, I can't say enough about Doug. I just got to give him a little plug, a shout out here. He took over for his dad, as a lot of people know, Charlie. and he's been on the team now for 19 years. I can't believe it's that long already, but it's good to have somebody like Doug. He's kind of our go-to guy as far as works behind the table when at entry time. He knows as much about it as you and I do, and it's good to have somebody like that and kind of knows how we would work and this and that. If we've got a problem here that he can oftentimes, if you and I weren't there, he could make it happen.
Jamie Eastep had his hands full. He came up on Tuesday already, did all 3 warm-up slams Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, and then went to Bryant on Friday and Saturday night. So 5 different hunts he was master hounds over throughout the week.
Yeah, we worked him pretty doggone hard. Tim Gilchrist out of Iowa, he was there. He went to Versailles both night, Bear Creek, and God bless him. He had some truck issues on Saturday night. He's ready to go up there, and he goes out and gets in his truck, and he has no power. And we won't talk about the brand of truck he has, but but I talked to him, and it sounds like I'm not sure what the deal was, but it sounds like he limped it home. So I think everything's going to be fine. But appreciate Tim.
Glad he made it. Brendan Scalf, he came from Kentucky, and he went up to Convoy, probably the longest drive both on Friday and Saturday nights, and did a great job up there.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Former state trooper, I think he was, but he takes his job seriously and wants to do a good job, and we're lucky to have Brandon on the team. Wendell Bond out of Virginia, he is our ground superintendent. I think it's a job that he kind of likes to do, and he's buzzing around the grounds all day, Friday and Saturday, and just kind of helping us out with any issues on the ground. And it's good to have that, So, yeah, and I think folks have kind of learned that he's the go-to guy if there's any issues on the ground. Does a good job. Thank you, Wendell.
Yeah, tough weekend this weekend with it being so hot for the dogs. And obviously, Jake, I want to mention Jake Moore. He was the hunt director at the Cross Plains Pro Slam on Wednesday night. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and Trevor, our staff, our hunt staff, your wife Jenna was there this year and helped us, her and Lacey Miriam, and I think I mentioned it there at the event, but, when mistakes get made, if there's any mistakes made, they will show up, whether they're in the office here before we go or whether they're made there at the event. It's going to reflect if somebody didn't get the right number or didn't get put on a cast or something like that. A lot of it has to do with our staff and not making any mistakes. And, hey, they're human too, and that's a lot of dogs they put out. And we didn't have not a one on Friday or Saturday. Not a one.
They did.
Thanks to these 2 ladies right here. Jenna Wade and Lacey Miriam did an outstanding job. Kudos to them.
Super nice to have some people you can depend on to do those jobs, because you can't do everything. You got to be able to delegate tasks, and they make you comfortable doing that sort of thing.
That's right. And, sometimes I feel like you have to make some mistakes to learn from them, and, Lacey's a good example of that. And you're a good example of that, and I'd like to think that's how I learn a lot of things, too. Sometimes you make a mistake, as humbling as they might be, but that's how you learn. And you know what? They've done it now Lacey's done it here for 4 or 5 years now, and or 3-4 years at least. And I'm not that surprised. We know how good she is.
Yeah. I got to thank the national events team, Nicole Sedlecki and Megan Hartmus. I think I put in my post that I appreciate them continuously just improving and just leveling up our national events. Can't say enough about the job they do in making our events feel the way they do.
Not just that, but the other thing about them, they're easy to get along with, and sometimes we have ideas, and they're always considerate of some ideas that we have, and they can make stuff happen.
Absolutely, they can.
And there's nobody happier than Megan Hartmus ever.
We had some media folks down there, obviously doing different things in different capacities. Kyle, who's helping us on this podcast right now, obviously was there. Me and him we've done it so many times now that we've gotten it down to a T, I think, on getting results out to people in a timely manner. Couldn't have any griping about it this year, because we got it out there as soon as we could, and probably before people expected it. So I appreciate the job Kyle does in keeping people in the know all weekend on our social media platforms and on our website. Tracy Chilson there taking her great pictures. Obviously, it takes us a little bit to edit those and get them looking right. So I'm excited to see those. And by the time this airs, they'll probably be on their way out to the Smug Mug. Clayton, like we talked about, Clayton Stark, he went on with us on the final cast, and he was there all weekend capturing, and he's going to do like a full roundup of the entire event. So really looking forward to see what he got there. He's put out a couple snippets of some interviews and footage that he got, and they all look really good. And then Brett Ayers, just met him this weekend for the first time, and it looks like we've already posted some of the pictures that he took this weekend on our Smug Mug right now. And man, he takes some really clear, really good pictures. I was super happy with some of the win pictures he's taken and posted of our winners, and then also with the Grand 16 photos he posted, as clear as I've ever seen.
Yeah, some of those professional photographers, they do, and he's a good example of that. Takes some good pictures, makes things look good. Registration table that we had set up there in the Kuhlman Center. Taylor Armstrong is the is head of registration here at the UKC office in Kalamazoo, and then we also had Chaz Weatherford, and he's from the Phoenix office, and he came up first time at Autumn Oaks, and they sit there. They do a lot of take a lot of papers and do magazine subscriptions, anything customers might have. They're the ones to go to, and we appreciate them being there.
Yeah. Out in the merch booth, we had actually a registration manager and a media director out there, so they were doing a little bit different job than usual. But Kelly Wheatley, part of our management team in the registration department, was out there selling some merch, and as well with Annie Hammond, who's actually a director of the media department out there. So hopefully you guys all got to say hi to them and had some good interactions with those two ladies.
Yep, they're set up there in the enclosed vendor barn, and hot as it was, that building was hot. Here everybody else was working in, or we were all working in the air condition, but they didn't have that out there. So we certainly appreciate Kelly and Annie out there 2 days in that working the merch booth. Show building, we also had Summer Rosati, Cassandra Sage, and Ann Saley that were helping with all the show things in the expo hall and helping pack up, set up and pack up and everything else. Everybody did a great job there. Thank you, ladies.
Got to mention Matt Gillespie, who's a part of our upper management team, and you won't doubt you go to many events and see someone with the title and job role and position he has that's out there late on we talked about it before, late on Saturday nights and early on Sunday mornings, helping load stuff up and doing the dirty work while me and you I'm looking at him, who's the acting president of our company or whatever, loading stuff in the truck while we're having a meeting with a guy over the world championship. You kind of feel a little bit guilty, but it is
sitting
where
there
it
in
is.
the bleachers, and they're doing all the work. I know.
Yeah. And of course, I want to talk about you, Alan. Appreciate all the work you do there and in your roles and how you always give us a helping hand anytime you can. So. And I know you talk to 1 million people there, and you're the face of our company. So I appreciate you always being there for everybody and all the work you do here.
Well, I thank you for that, and I still enjoy it. It's been doing it for a lot of years, and but I want to go back to Matt, just kind of echo what you said too. There's not you won't see in a lot of companies somebody that high up in management like Matt, and he's there on Sunday morning helping us pack up, like you said, when we're doing some other kind of side business. They're sitting in the bleachers talking to somebody, kind of working out some plans, and he's kind of spearheading the packing up, the dirty work, so to speak, and would not have to. We don't ask him to, but man, that speaks volumes for Matt, and certainly appreciate that. And then lastly, you don't have your name on here, but man, Trevor, you do as much and more than anybody, and you're good at it. You do a great job, and just keep getting better and better with everything, and it's good to have somebody that you can rely on and trust, and we have that in you. And not just that, people respect you, and I think in the first couple of years we used to talk about that, about earning your respect, and man, you have done a lot of that. You've come a long ways, and a lot of the success we're having with these events, and this year is another good example, has a whole lot to do with it, and I thank you for it. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate that. And I figure we better close this thing out talking about our partners and sponsors. The whole, we wouldn't be able to have an event without these folks and our prize packages and some of the flexibility that people don't even know about, that some of our partnership details give us to try different things and to do things. So obviously we've got our partners here, all about these. Eukanuba, the official performance dog nutrition partner of UKC.
Yep, and Lynn Carradine was there on behalf of them, set up there in the Hunt headquarters building. Appreciate Lynn and all of their staff.
And then Daltra, the official GPS collar partner of UKC.
Yeah, they had Stephen Choi there, and Nick Jansen was there as well this year. So appreciate Dogdra and them being there as well. And then our sponsors, Kelly's K-Lite, who we talked about. They do the Thursday night dual national championship, or the national dual championship. Sandra Hintz man, does a lot for our sport. Thank you, Sandra.
18 lights and a thermal at this one for Sandra. A lot of prizes. Bright Eyes Lights, Ray, not only, sponsor for here, Youth National Spotlight Series, but man, we took home a few boxes from him for the upcoming World Championship. So stay tuned for what you and him have planned for that. I know you guys have some pretty good stuff going on for that.
Yeah, he brought several hundred lights, and he got rid of all of them, and he was had them all gone by midday Friday already. So appreciate Ray. Bad Habit Hunting Supply. We mentioned them. They sponsor the warm-up hunts through our Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. $2,000 there. Thank you to Mr. RJ and Colleen Archer for their support.
Yoder Nylon, Marty Yoder and all he did, especially for the Grand 16 specifically, with the prize packages he gave those guys, made it worth their while to get in that Grand 16 for sure.
Yep, Owens Dog Boxes, some of the best dog boxes out there in the industry. A longtime sponsor of Autumn Oaks.
GT's Hunting Supply, Gary Beatty from down in Southeast Tennessee. Appreciate Gary's contributions to UKC.
Yep, Diamond Deluxe has done a lot for us over the years as well. We had Mr. Bowling there set up in the open pavilion building selling those Diamond Deluxe boxes, good boxes. We gave at least one or two of those away this last week.
Evans Dog Boxes, was good to see them back there, and also gave one of those away over at least one in the show building over there. So appreciate them being there.
Yep, Tier 1 custom game calls. You talked about the guys there set up out there in the corner on Main Street right there, and a good call right there. And appreciate Tier 1.
Dogs Are Treed weren't there this year; they were there last year, but still a big sponsor of our events, and can't beat their products. Great customer service as well.
Dan's Hunting Gear. They're set up in the open pavilion building behind the two vendor barns there. Have a lot of product that they set out. I know Friday I went out that Thursday and Friday a couple times, and they had a lot of folks out there and walking through their setup out there. Appreciate Dan's Hunting Gear.
Nightlight, longtime sponsor of United Kennel Club. Appreciate Nightlight and their contributions.
Yep, and then you have Okie Dog Supply and Mule Hunting Gear, same owner out of Oklahoma. Appreciate everything that they do. They've been sponsors for our Coonhound and Beagle, Cur and Feist, all of UKC segments. Thank you to Okie and Mule.
And Crystal Lights. Brett Nelson gave me a handful of lights to give out to our final cast on Saturday night. So that was kind of a cool thing. As soon as I got out there, I gave them each a light and a squaller from Tier 1, and kind of a good way to start out your hunt. You ain't even started yet, and you got yourself a light and a squaller, so pretty neat.
Yep, and then the guys there at the Wayne County Fairgrounds, Brad and Dean, man, I talked to Brad quite a bit, throughout the year leading up to it, and he has just become the go-to guy for me, there at the Wayne County Fairgrounds, and there's not one thing that he hasn't. I'd call him up, and he's just Johnny on the spot, and same with Dean. Man, appreciate those guys, and it's good to have somebody that's willing and wants to work with you and wants you to make sure it's set up good, and he always tells us, you know what, your folks are good and easy to deal with as well. There's always a couple of those that kind of that you got to deal with or whatever, but he assured me overall, he said this is an easy event for them and they enjoy Autumn Oaks as well.
Yeah, so and of course got to thank the city of Richmond and Wayne County and all their officials and everybody who makes this event possible and helping us out with all the logistics of it. And man, I hope we didn't forget anybody. I've combed my head and thought about it a bunch about if we forgot anybody. I think we covered just about everything, but you know how it is. It's still Tuesday, and we haven't had much sleep, and we've had a bunch of things to do on a to-do list, getting ready for the World Championship after we put a bow on Autumn Oaks. But, man, appreciate everybody.
Hey, there's one other person that I want to give a shout-out to, and it's not somebody that was at Autumn Oaks, but it's Lexi in our department. She stays back and kind of, there for a couple of days. She's kind of the lone wolf without much help in our department here as far as answering phones and helping keep things go here in the office. But I also want to thank Lexi here for everything that she does. Although she's not directly involved with Autumn Oaks or at the event, she's a big part of the success as well, and that's holding down the fort here at the office. So thank you, Lexi.
That's right. And thank you all for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed us recapping the 2024 Autumn Oaks. And we're already starting to make plans for next year's event. So you better go ahead and make plans, get your hotel reservations, block it out. Labor Day weekend, 2025, Richmond, Indiana. We'll see you there. Alan, I know we both have new Dogtra Pathfinder 2s. How are you liking yours so far?
I'm liking it. I've even had the opportunity now to use mine where I didn't have service, where I download the map of that area, and it works flawlessly. Love it.
I agree. I really like my Dogtra Pathfinder 2 as well. I've used it quite a bit the past few months. I really like the crystal clear maps. I like that it doesn't lose service very much, and I don't have many bad things to say about it at all. Dogtra Pathfinder 2, the official GPS collar partner of UKC. Thank you for listening to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast. Be sure to give us a follow so you don't miss any of our new episodes or content.